How we doing, guys? I'm Top Table Steve.
I'm Top Table Ben, and we have a special guest with us tonight.
Hi, I'm John. I'm a 40k events organiser. I'm also a bit of a rules mogul. I'm here to talk to you about how to build your first 1,000 points, leading on from there to 1,500 to 2,000. Just on behalf of the guys.
Yeah, he's the guy that we run to when we don't know rules, and
which is
like that.
Which is frequently.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
So, as Johnny said in this video, the sort of loose topic for the stream tonight is if you have a bunch of models on your shelf, or you've only just started playing, or even if you're a veteran and you just started to play in whatever chapter you've started to play in, and you want a little bit of advice on where to take your force, buying box sets off the shelf.
Yeah.
At Element, using the affiliate link, by the way.
No pressure.
Check below. Best way to go and easiest and probably cheapest way to do it.
Yeah, we can definitely plug some cheaper alternatives to getting into the hobby and building 1,000 points.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's a really good hobby. Me and Ben, as you know, Johnny, are very, very new to this.
So we started with the Conquest magazines, didn't we? That came out as the like the kind of part work, and so you and I.
How long ago was that? 6 months?
No, longer than that.
Was
way
it?
longer than that. Yeah,
It's been running for a fair amount of time. I reckon
probably getting for a year now.
I reckon subscribers to Conquest are probably on their approaching their first 2,000 points by now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good year. Or so.
Yeah.
So we started with that. So I've got I've been painting up the Death Guard. You've been painting up the Ultramarines.
Yeah.
So we kind of.
We actually have both.
Well,
each.
yeah, we both have both each,
Yeah.
but I've been focusing on Death Guard. You've been focusing on the Ultramarines.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a kind of decent-ish force each now. But it's kind of, what do we do?
Where do we go?
Where do we go from
here?
there?
Yeah.
And I think, when you look at the Games Workshop website or kind of the Element Games website, you see these kind of like whole host of different box sets that are out there. It's difficult to know, and it can be a bit daunting. When I first started looking, I was like, "My God, what do I buy next?" And actually, it takes you a while to kind of understand what all the units are and kind of what is going to be useful to you, really.
Yeah.
This is to try and kind of help you guys along to try and build your army and kind of what to buy next, I guess.
It's a really laid back stream. We're not going to be like really rules heavy and talk about things that if you're new to the game you don't know what we're talking about, because to be honest, me and Ben don't know what we're talking about.
We are winging this.
But saying that, we're here to have fun. We're here to meet you guys, have a chat, find out what you're up to, and it'd be really nice to get a sort of a 40k contingent to our already very, very awesome community over at Top Table. So I think before we get into it, should we have a look in the chat and see who's in?
Let's have a look.
And say hello to people. So straight off the bat we have Green Tree in. How are you doing, Green Tree?
A regular.
He's a regular. He's a terrain builder. He's got his own YouTube channel.
Oh, cracking stuff.
Do feel free to plug your channel in the chat, Green Tree, as per. Post a link, because anyone who's not seen it I think will be pleasantly surprised.
Definitely.
Christian Reeves in. How are you doing, Christian?
How's it going, mate?
Weekender attendee.
Weekender attendee, nice.
And a legend. Glenn's in. How you doing, Glenn?
Glenn Seymour himself.
We all know Glenn.
Everyone knows.
He's like a mini celebrity at Element Games now.
He is, isn't he?
We have Jog PLC. Evening all. Just thought I'd say hi before it all kicks off. How you doing, pal? I don't recognise the name.
I recognise the name, but I'm not sure from where.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen the name before. If it is your first time in the stream or on the stream, not just Jog, anyone who it's your first time, do let us know. Just say hi, let us know what games you play and whereabouts you are from. It'd be nice to hear from you. Malkavian's in. How you doing, Malkavian?
I want to say a quick hello to James. James Alderman, he's one of our up-and-coming 40k players. Played one of his first 500-point games against a couple of our local lads the other day.
And that was at the Thursday night throwdown?
That was not a Thursday night throwdown,
No,
which we'll plug later on.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll definitely plug
plenty of plugs.
A couple of the guys playing the Sunday night, Sunday evenings, I suppose, up to about 500 points.
Nice, very nice.
Good stuff.
We've got a lot of numbers being said. Have I missed something?
I was
That's
counting
the
down the
countdown.
30 seconds.
Steve's not familiar with numbers yet.
We're teaching him.
Flying Mammal is Ruth. As
Who was at the weekend.
You'll remember she dressed
of
in
course,
the amazing
yeah,
cosplay.
One of the best cosplay by proxy.
Her cosplay was amazing, but she's a cheeky monkey.
Oh, quality.
Yeah, she's always ribbing me.
And Glenn starts getting involved with the numbers.
Oh
then as
no,
well.
he loves it. He loves it. He loves it. Glenn's saying hi to you, John. I think, or is he saying hi to the other John? Probably
Could
with
be.
John.
Could be true. Hello,
Could be
John.
both Johns.
Hello, John.
Yeah, it's
Is that from Jurassic Park? Hello, John.
Dan Slobodian. Hello, how you doing, Dan? Again, don't recognise you. If it's your first time on the channel or at one of our live streams, do let us know where you're from and what systems you play. I'm assuming 40k is one of them.
I know, Dan.
Oh, do you?
There's going to be very little SBG in this, so I'm assuming you're going to drop off very soon.
Don't drop off. Don't drop off.
Just join in anyway.
Yeah, don't drop off, Dan. Stay with us, man. Stay with us.
He loves it.
Glenn says, hi, KFC Roof. I'm assuming that's a joke about the cosplay. Zachary Evans. It's funny you guys are doing this. My group just started a slow growth 40k campaign.
Superb. This is going to be kind of perfect for you guys.
Yeah,
then.
awesome.
Might help you along a little bit.
We're really hoping, like we say, we want this to be semi-regular. We're not going to say it's a weekly, it's a fortnightly, it's a monthly thing. We're kind of thinking around if people enjoy it, we're going to do it every 4 to 6 weeks. If it gets popular, we will increase that. It totally depends on you guys, on what you want to see. But let us know, Zachary, where you're from also and where your club is. I'd be interested to find out. Ben Pearson is in. Ben Pearson was rocking his Shield Brother t-shirt.
He was rocking that at the weekend, and he came away with probably one of the best prizes from Trafford in Flames at the weekend.
Did you see what they did?
What's that?
So Ben Pearson is a Middle Earth player as well, and he's playing 40k, and he's coming to our event at the end of November, which we'll talk about later.
He's one of
OG.
He's
one of the OG
well.
patrons.
So,
but Ben played at the doubles event at Steamforged, and he played with Owen, two cool guys, and they played a really themey list which had Mama Kills on it. The Mama Kill. Have you seen that Forge will do the what is it called?
Harrod War Leader.
Harrod War Leader.
I'm familiar. Yes.
So they played that because rule of cool.
Of course.
It's awesome.
Oh,
now it has a special rule called Resistant to Magic, which makes it really cool.
Yeah,
and makes it worth the points.
Sounds powerful.
They forgot the edit. So they got their arses handed to them every game.
Learning to not forget your rules is something I will touch on, so that you'll probably find that useful.
But we're still smiling at the end when they received the win.
They
which
did.
Is the
Yeah, and
main
do you know what?
thing.
Me and James played against them, and it was one of the best games we had, I think.
Owen and Ben, cool guys.
They're lovely guys to play against. So
get down here on a Wednesday, Ben. Bring your mummock.
Yes, do it.
Ruth saying, feeling a love, Glyn. She also says, hi, my first time, Oxford, and I played everything and anything for decades. It's now all about ball cry. Well, if you want ball cry, you're in the wrong place, Ruth.
Yeah, we're not talking about ball cry tonight. We're over that now. That's like months ago. That's
so
like
last
August,
month.
wasn't it?
Yeah, so last month. Matt's in. You played Matt last week.
Mm-hmm. I did, yeah.
Evening all, glad to be here. And sorry I didn't make your group tonight at Element. No problem, my friend. Real life always comes first.
And we're doing this, so obviously, why would you come down?
Yeah, when you can see us on TV.
But no, big thanks for coming down last week. It was great to play against you, and I'm hoping that we can get some games in the future. Good stuff.
James Alderman, looking forward to it. Big thumbs up. John coached me on 40k tactics, top bloke. I totally agree. I love that.
Yeah, I'm not so bad. Yeah, coaching for 40k is something that we do quite a lot down at the Northwest Gaming Centre. It's something that can be done so easily if you have the knowledge. And 40k is one of those games that's best absorbed rather than read.
Yeah. Thursday night is I've not got down half as much as I'd like to.
Oh, yeah.
But
you have shown your face.
I've come down, and even when I'm here filming, and if it's a Thursday, I do pop in and say hi.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's always busy.
Yeah, so
it's hit the ground running big time, isn't it?
We should probably touch on this a little bit now, give people some context.
Yeah. So let's talk about Thursday Throwdown.
So I run a series of events called Throwdown Events at the Northwest Gaming Centre. We do all kinds of systems from bolt action to 40k, and we're looking to expand that. I do it all on my own, so it's all pre-written rules, packs, etc. So anything you get from that, is coming from me. Thursday Throwdown was the first of them. It was a weekly, it is a weekly 40,000 Warhammer 40,000 games night, where we tried to introduce people into the casual and competitive scene, different points levels, and it was more to get people interested in socialising in the community around here.
Which is a big thing.
It's something that we try and encourage, isn't it?
Yeah. For me, it's the best part of any hobby.
So, how many new people did you have coming down for it?
At the start, I reckon we started with about 11 people on the first week, and it was a massive growth.
I was one of them.
From the start.
You were one of them,
Steve was definitely one of them. Matt Woods as well.
Yeah,
he was definitely there.
But now he's travelling the world.
Now he's travelling the world, unfortunately, which is less exciting than this. And yeah, since then it's seen some steady growth. I reckon we get on our best weeks about 27 to 32 players
That's
per
awesome.
night.
Fantastic.
Yeah, per evening. We have a steady of 14 who are currently playing in our first competitive 8-week event.
Nice.
Ticketed, prize support, etc. So if you're looking for somewhere to play 40k, you're in the Manchester Stockport area, or you're willing to
Greater
travel up,
Manchester.
it's
Greater
Greater
Manchester.
Manchester, yeah.
Or even I mean, think of it this way: there's lads. Element's a bit of a hub now. I mean, it always
Absolutely,
has been, but now it seems to be.
getting
Now it's got a certain John Boy here. It's a little bit more organised.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a hub. We're bringing people together. So, as an example, tonight is Middle Earth night. Wednesday night is Middle Earth night. There's lads in there from Preston.
There are lads in there from Preston
So it's
tonight
an
that
hour.
travelled in, yeah.
Yeah. So yes, they're driving an hour, but they're getting 3-4 games in.
Well, Matt came down from Blackpool last week,
Matt came from
and,
Blackpool.
and it took him quite a long time to get through the traffic as well.
Yeah.
But people are making the effort to get
It's
down.
worth it, and it's an awesome place to play games.
It is.
It's an
It
awesome
is.
place to meet
I've not
people.
been to a place like the Northwest Gaming Centre. It's,
No.
It's quite unique amongst.
One thing I
gaming
will
also.
say is, if you have been here before and you remember it from, say, more than 12 months ago, it's a totally different experience now. So if you came before and you thought, oh, I can't be bothered, make the effort, because I think you'll be very, very glad. It's a different place to what it was 12 months ago. Very more organised, more friendly, more welcoming, and for me there's more people of the same mindset. It's not just about coming up with your best 40k list and smashing your opponent.
Absolutely.
It's very fun based.
So I think the gaming centre in of itself has always kind of put that ethos forward of being a welcoming place. Within the last 12 months, definitely, with the improvements we've made, we've had some staff turnover from some incredible staff before us to some incredible staff after them, including myself. I don't include myself among the incredible, just the aggressively mediocre.
He's incredible.
He's
good. Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Yeah,
I don't click with many people, but I've got a soft spot for this guy.
Yeah, I don't mind Steve. He's all right.
You're old enough to be his dad.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
I am his dad.
So yeah, when I first joined up with the gaming centre, it was all about what's on the other side of the bar. Even though I do work the bar regularly, you can find me here most days of the week, other than midweek.
You love it, don't you?
I absolutely love it. I'm here every weekend.
Even you've even been down when it's your day off.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
I've seen you in.
I mean, I run Thursday Throwdown on Thursdays, which is one of my 3 days off a week. So I'm here tonight. So that is.
It's called dedication now.
Yeah.
I've been here 15 days straight.
If you were his boss,
Yeah,
would you give him a pay rise?
I would.
Big shout out.
I'd be all over it.
Big shout out to Jay, best manager in the world.
He'd be listening at home going, no!
Shut up, Steve!
Don't encourage him.
My phone is ringing.
So yeah, basically Thursday night throwdown. If you're local, if you're within an hour of Stockport, take the punt. Come down on Thursday night. Even if you've not arranged a game with anyone or you don't know anyone, just look for Jonny. Tell him that you're here to play and have fun, and he'll hook you up. If not, play you himself, and you'll have a lot of fun.
Always approach me and just make sure that your presence is known. I can put you down on the list, and
Yeah.
then we can get you in with our community, who are also fantastic people.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
We'll go back through a few more because the comments are running away with us, so we'll catch up and then we'll jump straight in. Sean.
Hi, I'm Sean from Oxfordshire.
Hi, Sean.
Hi, Sean. We know Sean. I play everything and anything. You do indeed. Yeah, they play.
Yeah.
Sean and Ruth play every game going, don't they?
They're cool people. They're cool people. They're our people. They're top table people.
They are top table people. Got Paul Kirkham. Evening.
How you doing,
Hi,
Paul?
Do we know Paul?
I want to say yes, but I'm not sure. Paul, if you've not been in before, just let us know where you're from, what systems you play. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Dan Slobodian. Is that Dan SLB on
Dan,
Facebook?
it's Dan
I
SLB.
recognise the name.
Yeah.
I recognise the name.
When he said that he did the blog, I realised who it was.
Yeah. First time on the channel. I live in Stockport and play SPG and X-Wing. I was at the weekend and write the Drawn Combat SPG blog. Excellent. That was a good blog.
Yeah, it was a good blog. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much for that.
Really
Appreciate
good.
that.
Really
Why not
good.
here on a Wednesday?
Yeah. Where are you?
So Dan's an absolutely fantastic member of our community, even though he's got very limited time with his new little one. He still comes down for the odd game just when he gets chance, etc. Stuff like that.
I think I played Dan at Warcry.
Yes, something maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Dan, if you want to plug your blog in the comments, do that.
Put it
Dan
in,
runs
man.
an SPG blog where he just just keeps up to date with what he's doing. Doesn't make it too pushy. It's really, really interesting.
Good stuff. Glenn Seymour doing 40k.
Oh, sorry, man.
You've jumped.
Sorry, man.
Where we go? Doing 40k games on Saturday. The Conquest scenarios. Good stuff. Good stuff. We played a couple of the kind of the early ones.
Yeah, we've played bits and bobs. We've also for anyone who's interested, I don't know if anyone's in who has seen our campaign battle reports on the channel. If you've not, check them out. They're very basic. It's us very early on in the rules, but it's going to give you an idea of the editing style for our battle reports going forward. I'm quite proud of them. I think they look cool.
I thought they looked amazing.
I think they look really cool.
What kind of makes them different from other kind of battle reports, I guess, is that you've tried to make them a bit more cinematic.
Yeah.
So there's like guns firing and stuff like that, which you don't kind of get in other battle reports.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just trying to make it a little bit different and make it a little bit more kind of narrative, because that's something that's quite important to us, is that actually it's not just two armies being plonked down on the table, and you know we almost want to have a reason to fight and have a bit of narrative behind it, which I think adds to that immersion. You know, if you've got, you know, just two random armies facing off against each other, you kind of don't have that immersion, I guess.
No. Top table's all about rule cool.
It is.
That's first and foremost. Zachary says, I'm based in South London. We've all played war games for ages, but haven't played 40k since the edition with the vehicle damage tables. What edition is that?
That is damage tables. Is 7th edition, where you're rolling a d3 and on the result of a 5 or 6, something would explode, and the other two really didn't matter.
Okay.
Fair enough.
It's good to have you, Zachary. Thank you for joining us. Jock PLC, been in a couple of times, bit of a lurker. Just joined the Facebook group.
Good
awesome.
stuff.
I play 40k kill team. Just getting into Warcry, based in Stockport, but criminally never been to an element night. You need to get down here, man. That'd be awesome. If you play 40k and kill team, Thursday Throwdown. I think it's Showdown. Thursday Throwdown is the night for you. You'll probably see myself or Ben, or you 100% will see Jonny down here. So come down. Just say hi, man. It'd be awesome. Join the Element Games. What's the name of it? The 40 Element Games.
We have the Element Games Warhammer 40,000 group. There is also a Thursday Throwdown community on Facebook, which is the group.
Yeah. Is it called Element Games Thursday Night Throwdown?
It isn't branded as Element Games on Facebook.
Oh, right, okay.
It will be. I'll get the exact specifics about that in a minute.
Yeah.
I should know the names.
So I think he's.
We'll get it up in the chat. But join that group because that's going to get you in touch with a lot of local players and Jonny and. Yeah, you won't look back. You won't look back. Yeah. Ben Pearson says, "Don't remind me." Glenn saying, "Never heard of this Munch character. Is he a breakfast cereal?" Skull Munch says, "I am Glenn, but no free toy."
You don't get that in cereals anymore, do you? What's with that?
Ben's just moved to Nantwich. I'll try and get down on Wednesday nights when I can. Do it, brother.
Yes, good stuff.
And Thursday nights for 40k.
Nantwich isn't a million miles away, is it? It's definitely achievable to get down on a Wednesday night.
It's like my end, isn't it?
Yeah.
Glenn, I've seen your question. I'll get to that when the guys let me.
Yeah, we're going to get through this and then we're going to get into chat. So, Glenn was asking about Sisters of Battle, so stick a pin in that one.
Done it.
Zachary says, to be honest, 40k is a bit intimidating. Seems much more to remember than AOS. Do you know what? I'm going to respond to this because I was where your mindset is probably 4 months ago, and I started getting the Conquest magazines because I thought, I need to play this game. I run a YouTube channel. I should know something about 40k. It just makes complete sense.
It's one of the biggest games out there.
Yeah, so I need to know about 40k.
Being left out of it is.
I've put it off, and we both subscribed to the Conquest magazines at the same time. I thought this will help me ease me in, and I was hooked straight away. So don't let the rules put you off. There is a lot of them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There is a lot of them, but you don't need to know all of them to play and have fun playing it.
Yeah.
Don't be intimidated by that. Ruth, she's constantly retracting messages.
I know. I dread to think what she's posting.
I know.
So I think that previous comment was interesting there about 40k being intimidating.
Yeah.
Because that's something as a rules mogul that I lose touch with as I go. So I've been playing 40k for nearly 11 years. And after you play for...
You started playing 40k when you were 2. Get used to it, man.
Yeah. Steve remembers 11 years ago. It was his 50th.
Just about.
Good
night. Good night.
So with Warhammer being intimidating, I think the new edition definitely does things to curtail that. But you've also got people who've been in the hobby for a long time now, like me, because the game has been, even though the game's been out for nearly 40 years.
Yeah.
You're getting more people who are getting very, very invested in it.
Mm-hmm.
So myself, I could name you a slew of other rules judges, tournament organisers who you can go to. But it's really, I do think your main outlets like YouTube, blogs, etc., and things like that, try and get yourself in at the community level first before you start going into it on the books and the painting level. Like, only jump in when you're definitely going to have someone on the other side to catch you.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that it's even if you start watching like YouTube videos and stuff like that, it is very difficult to understand what's going on without kind of even having like a basic grasp of the game. And like before I'd even played a game, I was watching battle reports, I was watching kind of like how to play, and actually even then it was making it kind of very complicated, I guess. And one of the things that and this is what's going to be great about today, is kind of building an army. I still find quite kind of daunting. It's like where to start.
There's little bits that confuse me.
And actually, it's like, where do you start? And then actually, well, if you take this, then you can't take that, and then but then you have to take 3 squads of this to be able to do that. And it's like, where do you kind of start? So I think there is a lot of stuff to kind of get your teeth into when you start with the rules.
Absolutely.
Is it so? The 40k rule book is like this thick, right? But the actual rules are in 2 pages. No, it's true though, isn't it?
I wouldn't say they're on 2
pages.
I think the rule book does give off quite an intimidating aura, because I mean I could present you one right now. I've got one lying around. It's quite a thick book about yay thick, probably around 3 centimeters wide, something like that. And for the most part, it's all fluff and canon. So because Warhammer 40,000 and Age of Sigmar for the most part have been going for quite a long time, a lot of writers, a lot of authors for the Black Library, a lot of fan stuff as well has gotten into the mix. So I reckon the first 150 pages or so are all story and getting you used to the setting of 40k.
Introducing you to the universe.
It's something you should look at, and it's something you should read, because that's what's going to give you an idea of the factions that you like.
Well, it's that when I was saying I tried for so long not to like 40k.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why I did fall in love with it and really want to play it more is because of the lore and the background.
Absolutely.
And it's so rich. There is an incredible so
amount
much of it.
Like when I sort of first took on the Death Guard as my kind of army, I was like, oh, they just look kind of a bit gross, and like like what are these weird like sort of tentacle monsters and stuff like that. I was like, this isn't kind of something that I'm interested in. But then kind of listening to the lore behind why they're like that, and actually these are gifts, and actually they're kind of feeling blessed to have these gifts. It kind of just turns that completely on its head, and it kind of makes you sort of question, actually, the bad guys aren't just the bad guys, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. There is an ulterior motive to most of the Chaos Legions, which are my faction of choice. I'm a heretic through and through. And it's one of the reasons I play my chosen faction, which is the Thousand Sons. There's just so many intertwining different bits of the lore and the canon which allow me to justify it my way.
I've been listening to Blades of Damocles.
Blades of Damocles,
which is Tau versus the Imperium.
It's not very flattering for the Imperials.
It's not. And you know what? It's really put me off the Imperials. Like I'm kind of Tau through and through now. They're like it's an army that I kind of like almost see eye to eye with a little bit. Do you know what I mean? They kind of got my ethos, I guess. But yeah, it's really not flattering for kind of the good guys, I guess, that everyone thinks that Space Marines are.
It's definitely not, and it's one of those. It's one of the most extensive conversations the Warhammer 40,000 group of people invested in the lore really have often. Like, the community is quite torn on whether they think the Imperium is kind of like the stand forth good guys, as Ben put, but we've all come to terms with the fact that there is no real moral ethics in 40k. There is there is only who you back.
There's this side, and
there is that side, there is this side, and that side,
and that side.
It's
and as you say, like the heretic Astartes, that again, they're not necessarily kind of evil or bad. They're just kind of following a different path.
So,
I guess,
the way I describe my legion, being the Thousand Sons, is that we perceive them as evil, and there's obviously the joke of Magnus did nothing wrong, and then there is that perception. Did Magnus do wrong by trying to get in touch with the Emperor to warn him of the heresy, and then ultimately doom his own legion? And then when the obvious retreat to the Planet of the Sorcerers happened and the Rubric of Armor was performed. Rubric Marines, well, they weren't Rubric then. The Thousand Sons Legion were turned to dust. So, can these dust-filled cases, encased suits of armor, really be evil, or are they just following a very strict set of rules? I guess.
And this is how we're saying how rich the background is.
Absolutely.
Whatever faction you're going for, there's so much to read back to and get a feel for the army that you're playing with, and that's what I like. I like games like that. That's why I'm mainly a Middle-earth player,
because there is that
because you
wealth of lore.
Yeah, and you just have that attachment to the army that you're playing. So I found that with 40k as well. Lee Darbican's in.
Hi Lee,
the legend that is.
Just a wooden spoon.
You've not missed much, my friend. It would have been nice to have you here from the start. I did miss you. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. It felt empty without Lee, didn't it?
Rue says #pay rise for John.
I saw you saw that already. I saw a little smirk on your face.
I want to put it. I do want to put it on record. Element Games treats me very, very nicely.
Hence fancy pants laptop, by the way. Dan says, "I wish I was there. Baby duties." Totally understandable, my friend. Paul Kirkham.
Paul Kirkham, Stockport base, new 40k player. Excellent.
Fantastic
Been to Thursday
stuff.
nights a couple of times, but not enough. #real life. It happens, but get yourself down as and when you can. Just get yourself down, and the more games you play, the more comfortable you become with the rules, and obviously then the more proficient player.
So who was that? Just to
Paul Kirkham.
Paul Kirkham.
There's one thing that I would say, and you'll probably agree with me, Johnny, is even if you can't get down regular, sort of stay as active as you can on the Facebook group. So post your whip picks, post your army lists. That keeps you in the loop. And I think if you stay quiet and you're not as active, sometimes that can create a bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for? It'll make you less likely to make the effort to go.
Not necessarily negativity, but it's just you kind of don't feel quite as involved. But
if you stay in that loop and you stay part of the community and you're chatting to people, it's going to sort of gear you up and make
our community is very responsive. It's incredibly responsive to the nuances of communicating online and stuff like that.
It's a cool group. It is a cool group.
It's incredible.
Nick says, you've not all messaged Jay with that hashtag.
Message Jay with that hashtag.
Please don't message Jay with that hashtag.
Ruth's telling Nick, you start. Rob Campson, how you doing, Rob?
Hey, Rob.
Back in Dubai. Rob came all the way from Dubai.
Of course, Rob.
And another
it's fantastic
very
to meet you, my
valued
friend.
And he plays 40k.
Patron.
He does play 40k.
In Dubai, he's flying the flag.
Me, it was
lovely guy.
Yeah,
lovely guy.
Great
to have you at the weekend.
Great to have you. Nicholas Gardner
from New York in the States. Really only play Middle-earth for the last 13 years. Also play X-Wing and Legion, but I'm painting the Goatee Elves from Beastgrave.
Nice.
Interesting models, really interesting models.
Nice little mix of stuff there. But good to see another Middle-earth player, but tonight's not about
We
Middle-earth.
love Middle-earth
We
players.
love Middle-earth players.
Stay with us, Nicholas.
Yeah. Hello Nick. Nah, not that hashtag, more like don't forget Hellboy.
And he's saying marvellous. Rob Camp is in. Rob Camp and Glyn are having a little bit of
There's a bit of natter going.
Bit of a bromance.
Yeah. Rob Camp says, first day back at work today sucks. Played Guild Ball a fair bit since being back. Going to focus on Middle-earth SPG and 40k hobby-wise and get some Boar Cry games in. Community is growing here. That's good.
Well, luckily, Top Table Wargaming, or Top Table Gaming, should I say, is the channel for you, because every game you play, we cover.
We do indeed. Other than Guild Ball. Well,
yeah,
we've done a bit of Guild Ball.
We do Guild Ball,
but
we,
it's not our specialty.
There will be more, because it is, again, going slightly off topic, and we're not going to go off topic too long, but we may as well mention it. Jay's last Vengeance event is coming very, very soon.
It is coming very
so
soon.
if you're a Guild Ball player, that highly likely will be streamed on Top Table, so you'll get to see the games at the top end being played of Guild Ball. Dan says...
sadly, I've got to sign off, but I'll be sure to watch back tomorrow as I'm interested in 40k. Keep up the good work, guys.
Thank you, man. And
cheers, buddy.
Nick's showing us something. That's why
Nick is showing
That's why we've just started to look off screen like we're all going blind.
Yeah.
Rob Camp seems to have hooked someone into MESBG, so that could be a started. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Keep recruiting.
Yeah, because I think
I
you
recruit
said
like a madman in here.
You do. We were through there for like 10 minutes, and you recruited another 2 people. And as they were on the way out, they were like, "Let's have a look at the Middle Earth stuff." We're not talking about Middle Earth.
If I'm at the bar and I see someone at the Middle Earth shelves, I go,
It's a mid game this.
Do you play? Do you play?
Really
No,
good.
I've made Element Games so much money,
Do you know
I'll
what?
tell you.
The other week, when you bullied Lee Dalberkin just starting an item card army.
Lee was just hanging out, like stood next to us as we were walking around the shop, and I just started grabbing things and putting them in his lap. Like, you need that, you need that, you need that,
That's
you
what
need
you
that.
do. And Paulie just went and bought it as well.
But
Like,
you'll have an awesome army.
he will have an awesome
He will
army.
have an awesome army.
But we're not here to talk about Middle Earth.
No.
So guys, stop talking about it. We're here to talk about 40k. Fantastic stuff.
Nicholas says Middle Earth is the smallest of GW's big three to get into. Yes, it is for now.
For now.
Watch this space.
Let's have a look. Talk Glenn. Glenn.
There's
and Rob.
a bit of bromance
Glenn's
going on
doing
here. Simon Kendrick.
So Simon's one of my regulars down on the Sunday. He's one of our 500-point crowd.
Good man.
You've been watching since the beginning, but only figured out how to chat. Messaging from Catterick, but play at Element on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a commute, isn't it?
Well, the guys there are quite loyal to what they do. So they started off playing Kill Team, and that was kind of their intro into 40k, and then decided that they go on to 500-point games.
Do you think Kill Team is like a gateway into 40k?
It's a yes and a no. So you can use it in order to purchase more models for your collection. You can use it in order to start learning the very, very basic credentials of how to play the game. However, it's something that you can easily be bottlenecked down into. But if you are looking for a small, easy to access way of getting into the 40k universe, Kill Team is definitely that.
That's what I did. So
100%.
before Conquest, I think it was me and Jay put 2 and bought the first Kill Team box set.
Yeah.
I paid up my Space Wolf Kill Team, played a couple of games, and to be fair, for me that was the gateway drug into 40k.
Absolutely.
Because I painted the miniatures, put them together, and I thought these are awesome miniatures. These are.
Was that what started your Space Wolf army?
Yes.
Or did you have, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you had some bits before.
I had the bits, but literally just as from a collector's point of view. Like
Yeah.
I was never going to paint them, and I just had a few bits that were Space Wolves.
Like the rest of us,
Yeah.
hoarding plastic.
and then that was it. Yeah, but Space Wolves are my bag. But now I'm doing Space Wolves, Ultramarines, and Raptors.
Nice.
Weirdo. Yeah.
Very nice.
I've got. I know we said we wouldn't mention SPG again. But I'm going to mention his comment. Glenn says SPG is getting sweaty though. Haven't touched it since Weekender. Says Glenn. Beardy man.
Yeah.
Matt Prescott.
Beardiest player. I know. He pretends not to be, but.
Matt Prescott says, "Shush with the law, guys. I'm battling through the horror."
Oh yeah.
Sorry, man.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm gonna make the counterpoint is if you're battling through the heresy, nothing we'll discuss today will be indicative to the heresy, other than maybe a couple of Legion quotes.
If I knew what indicative meant, I'd agree with you. Ruth says, "Ask Munch about the box 40k tanks on the shelf." What about the box 40k tanks on the shelf, Sean?
Yeah. How many have you got?
That's a meme.
Is it?
We'll get it on a t-shirt
Not
for
very,
him.
not familiar.
Ask me about my tanks.
I'm good with memes, but
Alistair Notman. Alistair, if you're new to the chat, make sure you let us know where you're from and how you found us. Do you know Alistair? Is he another one of your boys?
Well, Alistair works for Element.
Oh, is it that Alistair?
So Alistair's one of my Thursday Throwdown guys. He's been since about halfway through, etc. He's been playing in our 8-week event, doing quite well for himself.
What faction is it?
Tyranids through and through, pretty devout, nice colour scheme to his
nice.
army.
So,
He can just about play.
I quite like Tyranids.
Tyranids are interesting.
I must admit. Again, I quite like the lore behind them because they are just a devouring species, aren't they?
I know quite a lot about the Tyranids, but I'm very, very green on how to play them on the board. So they're not an army that I've ever really put any time into. So Alistair's kind of like my resident,
go-to man.
Go-to man for things all Tyranid related, etc.
Alistair Tyrannid Notman.
Nah.
That's what you got to call him from now on.
Yeah.
Ruth says, as we play fantasy, I'm not sure where they came from. Obviously, he snuck them in when you weren't there, Ruth.
Yeah.
That's how us men roll. Glyn says, looking at Sisters or Custodes if I was to get into 40k. And the last comment, and after here now we will go to our pinned post, was from Nicholas Gardner. He says, I was disappointed with the recent Phoenix Rising Eldar parts. It's nice the Banshees are getting new models, but I feel it should have been Striking Scorpions or Crandras.
I'll put a pin in that one as well.
Yes, we'll come back to
Definitely,
that. So,
definitely come back to that.
the Sisters.
Yes.
Thoughts?
So the Sisters of Battle box was announced a couple months ago. I think about a month and a half ago or something like that. It's been something that we've been looking forward to very, very closely all the way through 7th edition.
It's something as well that the Warhammer community team have been kind of putting little teasers up, and they don't do that for every other army, do they?
No.
But it's because they did put a survey out. Was it about 2 years ago?
About 2 years ago, the survey went out of what do you want?
Yeah.
It was a very much a question of you know, how are you guys going to respond to one of these armies that haven't seen an update since, you know, maybe 3rd edition or something like that?
They're all metal models, weren't they? Pretty much.
So I still have a Sisters of Battle army. It's completely metal. It's
Nice.
You know, it's old school. And they're a very interesting faction because they really highlight the grim dark nature of the 40k universe and how entire factions can be made up of one specific gender for one specific role, etc. So it's very the Imperium's built up of very firm building blocks, and they are the building blocks of the faith. So the Adeptus Sororitas needed that kind of attention to bring them back into the mainstream of 40k. But they were very well loved, and devout fans were very loyal to them. So this box is, in my opinion, more like fan service than a new addition to the to the game. Obviously because they've been there before, but at the same time they're going to add something to the universe, which is something I don't personally think we've seen for a long time, which is the grim dark nitty gritty of Warhammer 40,000, kind of counteracting the I don't want to say childish because it's not, but the kind of more friendlier way of getting into the game. This is going to be something that says to people like, this is the classic 40k coming back into the fold.
Cool.
So what do you think of the models?
I was going to say
fantastic.
I've only seen like the things that's been online. I've not seen the kit. Is it a decent kit? It's a multiplier kit.
It looks really good, and it's something that I believe Games Workshop did way back in the day, but haven't done recently. And it's an army box where it's an entire release with a limited edition codex within of all of the new models that they'll be releasing in the first wave.
Right.
So in the box, I believe you're going to get Arcoflagellants. Correct me if I'm wrong. Arcoflagellants, Seraphim. You should get some Sister Repentia,
Penitent
Engine, and Sisters of Battle, and a Canoness. So Canoness being your HQ, Sisters of Battle being your standard line infantry, Arcoflagellants being mad crazed
like berserkers,
abominations of the flesh that have gone into berserk rages.
So they I was reading the lore behind them as well. They're like prisoners, I guess, aren't they? But they were. So
they're flagellating. So they're trying to repent for specific sins. So that it's almost very streamlined Catholicism. The way that they see it.
Very extreme Catholicism.
It's very extreme.
But they've got they've been injected with stims and all sorts to kind of make them
combat drugs. It's a very prominent part of the 40k universe. But going on from that, you also have in the box the Penitent Engine, which is the extreme version of that. And so if you didn't think pumping yourself full of drugs and maiming yourself on the battlefield to kill others was quite bad enough, hook yourself up to what is essentially an exoskeleton with a flamer, and they don't stop. There is no break on that train. They just they go forward, and it's one of the nicest models, if not the fiddliest to put together, but one of the nicest models Games Workshop ever made.
Is any of these forces on the tables here on Thursday or on a Sunday?
So funnily enough, we do have an Old School Sisters player who comes down every now and then. Cal Pickstone, he's semi-regular, he's not available all the time, but he does have a massive collection of Old School Sisters of Battle, including I can't remember the specific name of the character, but Sisters players will be able to tell me. It's a Seraphim, and it's just incredibly rare. I was knocked off my feet when I saw it, but he's got a very in-depth knowledge of the faction. He's very excited for what's coming.
Awesome.
That's good. And that's nice, isn't it, for people who are kind of, have been like long-time fans of a certain faction, to be able to kind of, Games Workshop are clearly listening to what the fans want, and it's great that they're kind of getting something that they have been after for, since, as you say, 3rd edition or something when the last models came out. So that's great.
Cool. So we'll jump onto the comment from Nicholas Gardner. We already read it out. I'll read it out again. He was disappointed with the recent Phoenix Rising Eldar parts. It's nice the Banshees are getting new models, but I feel it should have been Striking Scorpions and Krantras. What's your thoughts?
So the opinion of which kind of Eldar Special Forces, also known as the Aspect Warriors, that's the one. That was a wrong time to go blank. Nick saves the day. Of Aspect Warriors is very personal. So for me, it's the Swooping Hawks. They're my favourite of the Aspect Warriors, but they've all got their own kind of uses and battlefield effectiveness. Now, the thing with the box, there was the inclusion of quite a lot of vehicles, and Eldar players and sort of myself pointed out that this was not a box that was built for people who were going to buy this and get into the army.
Yeah.
However, it's a fantastic box if you are a generalised Eldar player. If you are an Eldar player or a Ynnari player, Ynnari specifically, this is the best box ever.
I've never really paid much attention to those factions, but seeing all the posts from the Warhammer community and things that was coming out, the models look beautiful.
So the Howling Banshees, the Incubi, Drazar and Janezar are the new models in the kit, so that's 2 HQs. So that's 2 HQs. That is 1, I believe, Elite's choice, with being the Incubi for the Dark Eldar, or the Ynnari, depending on which faction you go down, and the Howling Banshees are exactly the same. Okay. They're all brand new sculpts, apart from the tanks. The tanks that are in the box set.
They've been around for quite a while, haven't they?
They've been around for quite a while.
What's really interesting is I'm sure some, if you're into 40k, you'll probably follow Kirioth on YouTube. But he did I know you've mentioned it before. He did a video on I think some 5 of the worst sculpts of models out there. So one of the old, I can't remember which one it is. One of the old HQ options from the this box. I can't remember which one it is, but the old model of it is absolutely hideous.
Drazar? Drazar was the elite amongst the Incubi, and then there's Janezar, who is the Exarch leader.
I can't remember which one it is, but the old model of it is absolutely horrendous, and it's just like you. I don't know how old it is. I think it looks pretty old.
They would do an update.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything.
Are these the replacements?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's exactly the same.
Same model, altered rules with brand new sculpts, and they all look fantastic.
But and you look at the old model compared to the new one, it's just like it was absolutely due an upgrade. So that is absolutely fantastic to see.
Absolutely,
bro. Alistair, talking about his Tyranids, they're currently devouring my painting space. If I had advice for a new player with NIDs, be prepared to paint a million minis. Very, very true. But remember when we went to Warhammer Fest? Was it?
Yes.
We went to.
That was that's what really piqued my interest in
contrast
Tyranids.
paints and Tyranids. They're like this.
Yeah, they mesh together really, really nicely. They're really, really great.
I can't remember who the painter was on it.
It was a staff member, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But that army, and I think he did it across 2 evenings or something like that, and it was
it was only like 3 colours.
Yeah, 3 colours, but it looked absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And that's kind of what I was thinking. If you've got a lot of stuff like that, that is very. Relatively easy to paint. It's contrast is perfect.
Yeah,
for
contrast paints.
So let us know if you're using contrast to paint them, or whether you're actually painting.
I know how Alistair is painting his Tyranids. He's done a really good job on them so far. I just want to give a big shout out to his girlfriend who does all of the legwork for it now.
She's doing the painting.
I've spotted her. I spotted her on an evening painting a few bits up. So.
That's how Alistair rolls.
So he's taking the credit.
Why work harder when you can work smarter?
Big pimping. Big pimping, I like it. Okay, so Rob Camp says
NIDs need some love. They were the army that got me back into 40k in 8th edition, loving all sides of the bugs.
I've got a force of Tyranids because I got it in the Tooth and Claw set.
Yeah.
So I've
got were they Gene Stealers or were they Tyranids?
What was it? Oh, it was Gene Stealers.
Gene
Stealers. So where have I got Tyranids from? I've got Tyranids as well.
Because they're in essence not the same faction, but they are related via biology.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Maybe that's what it is.
The Gene Stealer cults are almost like the forward scouts of the Tyranid invasion.
So they kind of infiltrate the worlds before.
A bit of lore. A lictor will scout head to the planet. It's either a lictor or a patriarch. Again, I'm very, very loose on Tyranids.
The patriarch.
Patriarch.
Says Nick.
He will infiltrate the planet and build a small cult around him. That'll grow bigger and bigger and bigger, usually within the depths of a hive city. And then from there, when the Gene Stealers are approaching, when the Tyranids are approaching and they need the planetary defences coming down, they trigger the revolution.
The Gene Stealers kind of pop up, and that's kind of what their rules are all about, isn't it?
They have the ability to essentially negate the deployment phase and counter deploy to their enemy in any situation.
That's one of the nice things that a lot of the different races in 40, they're very different. Very different to play than other armies. We've got Nick Boxan in. He says at Top Table Gaming, good evening from Germany, guys.
Good evening.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Glad I could catch you guys going live, and what a coincidence. Right with the topic I was thinking about, I'm a kill team player transitioning into 40k too. Good man.
Good to have you. Really,
what are you
good
playing?
What faction are you playing?
Let us know. Let us know.
Cool.
Simon Kendrick. John, my son Ethan has just finished his first 500 points of Tau.
Yep.
Yes, Tau. Any tips for expanding it to 1,000? He had mostly infantry and 3 crisis suits, i.e. Tau starter set, box of Fire Warriors and a Kroot box.
So I know Simon and Ethan. Simon and Ethan are one of our Sunday crew.
Excellent.
So yes, from what I can see, Ethan's already got his first 500 points. From what I remember his list, there are Fire Warriors and Pathfinders in there. There were 3 crisis suits. For expanding to 1,000 points with Tau, it's probably good to stick with what you know. In my opinion, now if you go and buy a big battle suit such as
Commander.
yeah, maybe no, I might recommend a Commander. But if you went for one of the larger battle suits in the range, what you might find is that you have a big point sink. And your army remains in essence the same, but you get a big gun that may die turn 2 or 3. If I was you, I'd probably be looking at expanding into more crisis suits. Crisis suits are very underrated. Like Ben said, a good shout is always a Tau Commander.
It's a cool model as well.
It's a very, very cool model. There are loads of different variants of it.
Yeah.
Ghost Keel might be nice. Had a stealth element to your list. Maybe build some Pathfinders around that as well and take advantage of the rules.
Potentially consider a Fireblade. Because, to help with the Pathfinders and
Absolutely.
kind of the add an extra marker light and things.
Absolutely, that's
like
an
I know what I'm
option.
talking about now.
So another
Just read
underrated
2 pages.
another underrated way to play Tau is tanks. Devilfish is definitely something that I would be considering in every army. I'm not entirely sure why Tau tanks. Maybe there's something I don't know, which I don't know, but Tau tanks are certainly a way to go.
Cool.
That's interesting.
Where are we? Jonathan Hart says, "Evening all. Nice to see you on the stream, John."
Yep. So Jonathan, again, one of the if not the founder of the Sunday Night Crew. Yeah, Jonathan.
We've got a lot of the Sunday Night Crew.
Yeah, Jonathan.
Keep coming, guys.
Yeah,
Keep
yeah.
coming.
Anybody else that's
Jonathan's
not
done
in,
quite a
give them a
lot.
ring now. Get them to
Text
join in.
them. Get your phone out. Text everyone you know who plays 40k.
John Hart's done quite a lot for our community with 40k over the past couple of weeks, from getting people into Kill Team and then bumping them off into 40k.
Yeah.
We've got a game scheduled that I'm pretty sure we'd be happy to do some reports back on, etc. So yeah.
Well, we've got anyone who is in the stream now who is a Middle-earth SPG player and tunes into our Middle-earth SPG streams will know that we are very, very keen to do live battle reports.
Fantastic.
So once we master our art with a game that me and Ben know inside out, we are going to want to move on to other systems, and 40k is a prime example of something that I'd like to stream from. So on a Sunday night, 1,500 point battle report live with commentators sounds like a plan to me. But we're going to nail it on Middle Earth, and then we're going to move across. So yeah, any of you 40k players who are screaming out for watching some decent battle reports, and I'm not slagging anyone off, but I can't stand that handy cam shaky
thing.
It makes me feel ill. We're going to do it properly, so keep an eye out for that. Sean says they are for my Dark Angels army when the Dark Vengeance box set came out, and I wanted to start 40k.
How long ago was that?
So that was 7th edition. That was how many years ago? Probably around
4 years?
5 years ago. Something.
5 years ago, Sean.
5
And
years
them
ago,
tanks
Sean.
are still in the box.
just get them built. That's all.
Start slow, man. Open the box. Open the box. Glyn says Tyrannidalist out of Old Space Hull, 60 Gene Stealers and 2 Broodlords for 1,000 points.
Yeah, and that's a good list.
Yeah.
I can't.
So that's a lot of stuff there.
Broodlords plus Gene Stealers in this edition are incredible.
Are they?
Absolutely.
Alistair?
There's a horrifying lore excerpt about the creation of Arco-Flagellant. If you like Grimdark, I'd look it up.
Yeah.
Where's that from? Is that in a book? Is that...
it's definitely been mentioned in books before now, but I believe it was in one of the shorts. Most of the Sisters of Battle lore is in excerpts of short books from the Black Library. There's also the Sisters of Battle Omnibus, which is out there. Definitely worth a read.
They mentioned quite heavily in Dark Imperium as well, aren't they?
Oh, definitely in Dark Imperium.
Yeah. So yeah, cool. I'll have to look into that. That sounds a bit grimdark.
Grimdark. Zachary says, I'm starting... in starting, we're using power level.
Yeah.
Is there anything we should know about that? So that's instead of points, right?
Yeah, so power level's really, really good for getting into the game with.
Yeah,
for your first
easy
couple
just
of
to add it up,
absolutely,
yeah.
it's so easy to just get stuff on the board, and instead of having to look at your war gear, instead of having to look at the different models that you've got
It's
in
like
the
all
actual
just
unit.
set. Yeah.
So I've played games where I was severely overstrength, severely understrength, but the power has been, pretty dead on, and we've been able to get on the board within 15 minutes, something like that. Yeah,
It's a good starting point.
it's a
basically.
very, very good starting point.
I think I'm used to kind of obviously SPG where you've got like the profiles, you've got the points value, and then any additional war gate is kind of listed on that profile. Whereas in 40k, one thing that kind of really struck me, you've got to go on a separate table to see what the points value of everything is, and it kind of. This is like the easy way. This is the easy way of kind of getting an army together, isn't it? When you don't have to think too much about kind of what you're equipping everything is. It's just like, 9 power level or whatever for each individual unit.
You can go about it any way that you want. You can go down the serious list building route of figuring out the different points, etc. And that's where I find my interest, is where I find the nuances between, if I drop 2 points there, I can actually put 11 points into this other unit, etc. Power is definitely a good way to do it as well.
Cool. Alistair says, I'm going to attempt to pronounce this. Jean Zar was the one he mentioned in that video.
Yeah, that's the really hideous.
The really not nice one.
And Jonathan Hart says, be nice to see an update of all the aspects of some of the models.
Aspect Warriors. That's what
aspects. So, right, okay. Some of the models like in 1st or 2nd edition.
So yeah, from 1st to 3rd edition is when most of the Aspect Warriors were introduced. Models are probably a little bit later than that. I know the Howling Banshees have had a few updates over the years, but yeah, most of the Aspect Warriors are still in metal. They're now made to order from Games Workshop only.
Cool.
And or Element Games.
Affiliate below.
Affiliate link below.
Little plug there.
And yeah, I think some of the models are perfectly fine. Like, I still like Swooping Hawks, but if they updated them, I couldn't fault that. I think it's an interesting move.
True. Right, we're going to run through these next few, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on to what we'll start with Ultramarines.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I've got thus far from the magazines and what direction would be good for me to head in.
We can do that.
So, Glyn says, what would you say is the factions you know most about, John? From the Getting Started box sets, which of the starter box sets do you give 2 thumbs up to?
So, I'm a Thousand Suns player, Heretic Astartes player. I like the Thousand Suns just because I like the lore excerpt. So, the Thousand Suns Start Collecting box, which gives you 10 Rubric Marines, 10 Zangors, Araman. Does it give you anything else? I don't believe it does. I believe that is the Start Collecting box. So it'll be 10 Rubric.
And how many points roughly do you get from a starter box set?
You're usually looking at below or just under 500 points. So
the new Space Marine, not Space Marine, Space Wolf start set with the new Primaris in is really nice, because that's
nice
basically
box,
the Tooth and Claw Space Wolf half, which what's the hero called again? What's his name?
I don't know.
It's on the tip of my tongue. I forget him, but he's cool.
He's the running pose.
Yeah, with a bald head and a beard.
Yeah,
he's cool, man.
So the Thousand Suns box gives you a lot of different ways that you can go down with your army. So you get Rubric Marines and Zangors. Zangors being demons, featured in the Astartes box, which was kind of not revolutionary, but very nice to see. Rubric Marines are your armoured core, essentially, 3-up saves against things that do 1 damage or 2-up save, etc. Very survivable. Zangors are all about the attacks going on the charge. And Araman, who's one of our key characters within the lore for the Thousand Suns, one of the better, in my opinion, characters amongst the Heretic Astartes.
So one thing about that is you don't normally get like a named character in the start to get start collecting boxes, do you?
It shocked me at first, and I was thinking, wow, I mean, that if, usually I like to buy multiples. I'll be like, I end up with 2 Aramans, and then I realised that you can also put an Exalted Sorcerer on disc. So now I proxy one of my Aramans as an Exalted Sorcerer. There are different ways you can play it. Bit of conversion work. It's nothing major.
Yeah, we like conversion work.
We do indeed.
Nick Boxon says, I'm going for Orcs. Can't resist the green tide. Haunts me in every system. Is there a big brute faction that screams for war? I got to play them. Painting Orcs right now.
So there's Orcs. There's also there are Orcs. Big brute screaming faction pretty much describes most of the stuff in 40k. If you're looking for something similar though, Tyranids. Playing basically what is Godzilla, big Tyranids, Trigons, Morlocks.
They're my
cool
minis.
I'm
calling them minis.
They're quite
the
scale. I've seen people playing, multiple Brood Lords, Flying Hive Tyrants and stuff like that. So that's an interesting way to go if you want brute strength.
I don't think I'd ever play Orcs, but I really like the aesthetic of Orcs. They just look cool, man.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Glenn says, you and Ben have mastered SPG?
Yeah, man.
Don't be so cheeky. Don't be so cheeky.
Kings of SPG over here.
Jonathan Hart, Simon should take a lot of credit for the group.
Yeah, credit to Simon then. Like I say, I still get to play with the group, but I see them every week and they're very loyal.
Cool.
They're good at what they do.
We like local groups.
We
like
do.
local
Yeah, we
groups.
do
indeed.
We definitely.
We love every group, but we've got a soft spot for local groups because they're local.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, even though we may not know them by name, we walk through Element at least every other day.
Yeah.
And there's always really
like
nice groups of people playing.
Yeah.
But there's people you start to recognise. It's like you don't know them, but it's like,
and you go,
"You right?"
Well, it's a different dynamic than a bar and a shop. It's definitely a group of mates hanging out.
yeah, it's cool.
It's
man.
100%
It's cool.
that way.
Do you want to take
Nicholas Gardner for Eldar players. When in doubt, the answer is always Dark Reapers.
Yeah, that is
Are they the go-to?
Dark Reapers can be made incredibly filthy if you've got the tactical hand for it. You know, the ability to lace down heavy firepower. I think you can get up to something stupid like 30 dice, maybe more. With
I don't know that many dice.
with an Exarch behind them,
I
or
do.
Yeah.
with an Exarch or a Farseer behind them, giving them all sorts of rerolls, giving them all sorts of buffs. Psychic powers, giving them the edge as well. They can be one of those factions where you basically sit them at the back and have a lot of fun turn one.
Yeah, just have fun and ruin your opponent's day.
Pretty much, yeah.
Jonathan says, I'd like to see some battle reports from TTG. Oh, well, if you want to see battle reports, then go into our back catalogue, because there are some 40k battle reports in there when we started our campaign, which is still yet to be finished.
Yeah.
It got shelved temporarily whilst the Warcry release came out, and we hammered Warcry for about 3 or 4 weeks.
And it's something we didn't really pick back up, but we
literally spoke about this last week.
Yeah, we did, yeah. And it's something that is absolutely 100% on the agenda.
We're going to finish off the campaign, but go back and watch them, and make sure you do comment in the comments.
Know what you think.
We want tips, advice, opinions on how we film. That would really, really help us out. We're going to finish the campaign. I think we've only got two left to film to finish the campaign. And then from there, what we're going to do is we're going to get players in from hopefully Thursday night or Sunday night.
Absolutely.
In the studio here, and we'll just watch them play, commentate, and put out some really nice battle reports with really nice armies.
I'm definitely up as well for it. It's something that I'm interested in.
It'll be very, very cool. So comment on the battle reports, and do let us know in the comments as well if you are interested in your army and yourself being involved in a battle report on the channel, because we just want to get fresh faces on.
Yeah, if you've got cool looking armies, stuff like we want it painted, because obviously it looks better on the channel.
Needs to be painted. That is a prerequisite, unfortunately, because people.
Nobody wants to see Tale Full of Grey, do they?
No.
So get your armies painted, and we'll get you on the channel.
Okay, right. Let's have a look. Green Tree. I'm back. Sorry, I needed food. No problem, my brother. We all need fuel every now and again. Rob Camp.
He's off to bed. Right, guys, time for bed for me. We'll catch up with the rest of the stream tomorrow. Night,
Sleep tight, my friend.
Looking forward to seeing the Ultramarines 1K list, which does that give us a nice little segue onto that point?
Let's pause the comments there.
Yeah.
So, Conquest. I've pretty much got a couple of captains, a mix of armour. I've got a load of Space Marines, some Reavers. I've got Dreadnought.
Yeah, you got Dreadnought.
And I've got
some Hellblasters. You've got
Hellblasters. I love Hellblasters.
They're fantastic.
Yeah, except when they blow themselves up,
we'll touch on
which happens a lot. Where can I take this force so it stays thematic, but it makes it fun for me to use? What do I need to get off the shelf at Element Games using our affiliate that I'm not going to get Dustfire and Magazine? Because now we've got, I think we've pretty much got everything that we're going to get, like cool stuff. I've got a few scouts. I'm not keen on the scout models, so I don't want to use them. But yeah, where would you take my list?
So you've got an interesting army to start off with in Ultramarines. So lore moguls out there will know that the Ultramarines were the chapter, or Rabute Gilliman, their Primarch was the Primarch that wrote the Codex Astartes, which basically set out the rules for how to combat using Space Marines. Where you should be at right now, like you say, a couple of captains, Reavers. I'm assuming by Marines you mean Primaris, Marines, etc. So you've got Intercessors.
That is one prerequisite as well. I want to stay Primaris.
You want to stay Primaris. So let's say you've got 500 points dead on the dot now. So what I'm about to tell you isn't going to be exactly 1,000 points. It could be over, could be under. But what I reckon you go for is probably going down the infantry route with Ultramarines. So they've just had their first supplement. And I believe most of the major legions are definitely going to be getting that most of the major chapters even.
Yeah, we stick a pin in that because I've got some questions to ask you about that
Absolutely.
afterwards.
So I believe the Ultramarines work best when they're using infantry tactics. Even though every Space Marine chapter can make use of tanks, there's nothing specifically in the Ultramarines supplement or codex which really makes them tank heavy.
Yeah.
So if we move them aside for a moment, we might touch back on repulsors, land raiders and stuff like that. Intercessors are a great option.
Yeah.
The Ultramarine special rule of being able to fall back out of combat and fire
Still shoot. Yeah.
simultaneously, you are always counted as stationary, which is massive with the new bolter rule. Well, I say new, but the updated bolter rule.
Mm-hmm.
So the updated bolter rule, for those who don't know, is that anything that is a biker terminator has remained stationary or is in half inch gets the rapid fire rule. In 7th edition, it used to just be if you were in half range, you would benefit from that. However, there are now 4 basic prerequisites for that. Ultramarines always count as having that.
Right.
So they are consistently firing 2 shots per bolt rifle.
Cool.
Which is mega.
So if you almost kind of hoard out, you're getting double your shots, but actually the more infantry you've got with bolters, the more shots you're putting out, and actually ultimately all these games are kind of come down to the number of dice that you roll, and actually if you're putting more dice out there, the more chance you've got of wounding.
I would say yes, but at the same time, I'm also going to tell you that maybe it opens up the ability for you to save points.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, Steve, you've got 2 units of 10 intercessors. Without that rule, without that Ultramarine rule, you would be firing 1 shot each if you were within half range. So 18 inches, you're only firing 20 shots with all of those units. However, at all times in 30 inches for a bolt rifle, they are counting essentially for 2 units.
Right.
So, where 20 shots would be, it would be 40 if you had the same, which is why I think with Ultramarines you're now looking at a conservative army list of probably around 20 intercessors. Something like that, because they're dishing out 40 shots. And remember, with the way that Splitfire works in 8th edition, you don't have to nominate your entire unit to fire at one thing. So you could fire 5 at something and 5 at another. So there's 10 shots at one thing, 10 at another. You do that with 2 units. You are pinning down 4 separate units there with 10 shots. And at strength 4, AP -1 and 1 damage, there's definitely worse weapons out there to do that with. So I would probably be going down the route of 20 intercessors. If you want to go infantry heavy and you want that kind of foot slogging ground troop vibe to this army, 30. 40 might be pushing it.
I've got enough models because I bought.
You've got a lot.
I bought the thingy box at the Apocalypse.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
I've got tons.
You've got tons there. You've got a battalion -1 leader, -1 HQ. So it's an interesting army in terms of its infantry. Ben touched on Hellblasters. Now Hellblasters are one of the more powerful units in this edition. 30-inch plasma guns. If that's not enough, the ability to overcharge at strength 8 -4. With 2 damage flat.
Really
it's grim, and it was looking like it would be fairly balanced out and nicely and neatly compact into an effective unit that could only put out a certain amount of effectiveness until people figured out that a lieutenant and a captain is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of what we quickly worked out, wasn't it? And again, when you kind of deployed badly in one game that we played, and you kind of moved your captain, your lieutenant away from them, it's like, why didn't I do that? Because when you started losing, you couldn't then re-roll the 1s. So when you re-roll the 1, they take a wound, don't they? So, well, it's not even just a wound. It's that you take that model off the table, don't you?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it basically blows up.
So you're kind of almost shooting yourself in the foot, so to speak, if you don't.
Yeah, yes and no. I feel like there's definitely something to be said about Hellblasters being taken in certain lists. So, with the initial reaction to Hellblasters when they were released is that they're going to be great tank killers, but remember they max out unless used with psychic powers or other fiddly doodah at strength 8. A good amount of tanks you're going to see on the field now are toughness 8, which they're going to be wounded on 4s. Good AP value, you only need to roll 4s, but I think these are definitely better used firing at infantry.
Yeah.
I think that
is it just to be able to guarantee those sorts of kills?
Infantry murder is what they're really good for. And that segues nicely into another point of in a conquest kind of going on to 1,000 points. How much points do you sink into your leaders, into your HQ unit? So you always want a captain and a lieutenant.
Yeah.
You might even want 2 lieutenants, if I'm being honest. You want them to sit near your intercessors to be able to reroll ones on their wounds.
Yeah.
You want the captain there to be able to sit near the Hellblasters to make sure they don't die if they overcharge, etc. However, there are ways that you can make this list even dirtier. There are ways that you can bump up the power level of that kind of thing. So I want you to picture 10 Hellblasters on the board. This is approaching the 1,000 point mark. You've got 20 intercessors, that's your core line troop, and then you've got 20 intercessors, and then you've got 10 Hellblasters. Okay, so your 10 Hellblasters sitting there, and they've got support from a captain nearby, because they're going to be overcharging. Everyone likes to say that when they're firing. It's like, I'm overcharging, just to watch your opponent kind of, was that a waste of my time? So you've got the you've got that initial line troop there. You also want a lieutenant near them. You definitely want a lieutenant near them because you don't want that mortifying moment of rolling a subsidiary slew of ones. You want the ability to re-roll those. Potentially even worth putting in a librarian nearby for the power prescience. Now prescience gives them +1 to their ballistic skill. Space Marines already have an impressive 3-up, which would become a 2-up. So now you're looking at 10.
Is that an area of effect from the library?
It's not. It's a targeted psychic
power.
Okay. So
you would it just target one unit then?
So in 1,000 points, what I'm telling you is you can have a unit of 10 firing 20 shots at strength 8, AP -4, 1 damage, hitting on 2s, re-rolling those 1s, mainly wounding on 2s, re-rolling those 1s. And you can fit that really, really nicely into probably about 400 points.
So that's my
that's your next list. It's pretty much your list anyway, isn't it?
I've got librarians. I just never knew what they did.
That's where I would take it from 500 points. So it doesn't really matter what's behind you in that 500 points. It's obviously building on from that.
Yeah.
Cool. So once we got to that kind of 500 points, then you're talking about a lieutenant, a captain, a librarian.
And I would say it's definitely worth taking a librarian just for the tactical option of using those psychic powers.
Fair enough. A couple of units of intercessors and a squad of Hellblasters.
Absolutely. You're now approaching the 1,000 point mark. A really, really nicely seen element of the meta, especially now, is 3 squads of scouts, either with sniper rifles or with bolsters, because they are the perfect way of min-maxing out your battalion detachment. So obviously for being Battleforged, you get +3 to that. You get 3 for the battalion. So you've got
so talk me through Battleforged, kind of battalions, etc. So start from the beginning with that. So because again, this is kind of going back to beginners. When you're talking about points, it's kind of very easy to add up what the points will be. But then, kind of when you start talking about command points and stratagems and everything like that, I think that's where a lot of new people tend to just be like, I've got no idea how to do this.
Absolutely. So we're looking at command points, which are your basic bread and butter. This will allow me to gain the tactical edge in the game, and they are special abilities listed in your faction codex, the rule books, some in chapter approved. And a good example of that is the re-roll. So for 1 command point, you can re-roll a single dice.
So this is a resource. You have a set number of command points per force, depending on
what you've taken in
depending on what you've taken in the first place. You will get a subsidiary amount of points. And it's a massive thing within the army list building community. Is how can I get the most out of my army while still getting a good amount of command points. So command points I basically use to spend on certain abilities throughout the game, which can give your units a tactical edge. So Battleforge works in that you want your entire army to remain thematic. We always encourage people to play thematic armies. We don't want people bringing down lists that they're guaranteed that they're going to win in 2 turns and make somebody's night horrible. At least I don't encourage it at Thursday night. It's one of those
absolutely
things.
It's not what we're about either, is it? We want to play nice thematic lists. So being Battleforged, that means that essentially it does become a very thematic list. Then
it kind of limits it kind of uses the rule of 3 to limit what you can take. So
is that to stop people from potentially taking to take too many of a particularly powerful unit?
So, for example, a battalion detachment is 3 units of troops and 2 HQs. That is the minimum requirements that you will need in order to build yourself a battalion. For that battalion, if you meet that required amount of troops and HQs, you'll get rewarded one of them, which is +3 command points.
Okay.
Being Battleforged means that every single squad or unit or creature or whatever in your army fits into one of those detachments. So that can be Spearhead, it can be, with Spearhead being your heavy support, it can be Outrider, which is like your fast attacks, like your speeders, your bikes, etc. And you'll find that at the back of your rulebook, or near the back of your rulebook, and it'll tell you the requirements that you need to, qualify for those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, what you've explained thus far is how what you've told me to do is basically how I probably would have gone anyway.
Yes.
So in that sense, the list for me for Ultramarines kind of writes itself.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
If you read the codex.
If you read the codex, it does. But then you need to start looking at yourself as a player and say, well, maybe I could divert somewhere else and try something new. So, for example, maybe you're not too familiar with tanks like the Repulsor, the Predator, the Land Raider, etc. Okay, so why not go and invest in that? Build tank cores, etc., and things like that. So I think there's definitely something to be said.
I've had my backside handed to me by tanks.
Yeah. I've seen that.
was that against
Mr. Matt Woods?
Matt Woods, yeah.
Yep.
With the Salamanders Land Raider.
Yeah.
And loads of things jumping out of it, and I'm going.
I think there's definitely something to be said about tanks in 1,000 points. I don't think the Repulsor, which is one of the more expensive but really, really efficient firepower tanks in the edition right now, is going to give you... it's not going to give you enough bang for your buck, in my opinion. It's going to be a massive point sink, because what you're going to do is get your 500 points from Conquest and then just add a Repulsor, and it's not very...
Nick's saying 3 repulsors.
You definitely don't want to take 3 repulsors, and we'll get onto that. Maybe taking a repulsor might limit you too much.
Yeah, I like the idea of what you said originally. That's the route I'm going to go down. I think it's a very good way for me to get more of a grasp of the rules on how Ultramarines work and the way they're supposed to work.
Definitely.
So
mess around with your synergies.
Yeah. So I think it'll probably on a Thursday night I'll definitely whack that list out and see how it does.
It's definitely interesting.
Yeah. I think what we'll do is we'll get onto the Death Guard in a second. We'll jump back in the chat because it is running away with us. So we're going to fire through some of the chat. Where are we?
We've got all sorts of chat going on here.
Loads. Okay.
We've got people saying goodnight to Rob.
People saying goodnight to Rob. Jonathan Hart says Blood Angel starter box is pretty good if you don't mind tactical marines.
So the Blood Angel starter box hasn't had a new rendition that includes Primaris. You still get tactical marines in there, but
The
I've
old
seen
school.
a lot of
they're the kind of smaller,
the old school
stumpies.
marines.
Yeah.
Still a lot to be said about them.
There was a list that I saw that somebody literally, because again, you were talking about kind of getting the number of shots off, because they're obviously points cheaper than Primaris. So actually by spamming them, you get a lot more shots.
If you wanted to go for a more competitive, points efficient way of playing the Ultramarines, I'd probably take standard Space Marines instead of Primaris Marines, just because you're going to be able to equip them all with bolters.
Yeah.
Bar the
standard
sergeant.
to 1 wound.
Yes, they are a standard 1 wound.
Primaris to 2, right?
2 wounds, yes. They still have the same save, they still have the same toughness. However, because they're Ultramarines, they're benefiting from the rule where they don't class as not being stationary when they are stationary.
Right.
Good stuff.
Green Tree, good question. First ever 40k model everyone owned and painted. We'll start with you, Ben.
Death Guard stuff. Well, basically the stuff that come with Conquest magazine.
What was your first paint job?
I think I started with some Plague Marines.
Plague
it would have been the Plague Marines that
Marines.
came with the very, was it the second issue I think they came with? So you got the 3 easy to build Plague Marines. Ugly brutes, but they're really cool models.
They are nice models.
I must admit, when I first picked them up, I was like, oh my god, there's so much detail on these. There's so many bits and things, and actually, you can do a really simple paint scheme, which leads me very quickly onto a video that I'm working on. It's kind of how I've painted my my Death Guard, and got them to a stand that I'm happy with, in a really kind of quick way, using minimal numbers of paints as well, because if you're coming into 40k, it's not just a case of buying the models, it's about buying all the paints and the brushes and everything to go with it. So the way that I've kind of done it is kind of geared towards beginners who might have a limited budget for paints and things. They might want to spend a bit
Yeah,
more on
yeah.
models. And what I've done with pretty much the entirety of my army is painted it in exactly the same kind of colours, so you
Yeah.
don't necessarily need any extra colours to be able to do it. So watch this space, that will be coming out very soon.
Cool
Stuff.
And you, Johnny, first ever 40k model?
Space Hulk first edition Terminators.
Nice.
Very, very old, kind of boxed up.
Did you
Terminator.
paint them as the box art, or?
I did. I tried to go for the Blood Angels look, being however young I was.
Yeah.
About
It
3,
was, yeah, something like that. It was a poor paint scheme that got better over time. But yeah, they were cool models. When they were
Cool.
released.
How about you, Steve?
My first ever 40k model that I painted. See, this is the thing. When I was saying earlier that I've always thought about and wanted to get into 40k, but then never did. I did buy a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
and I had the Assault at Black. Is it the Assault at Black Reach?
Assault on Black Reach.
Assault on Black Reach. I bought that box set.
That's-
I've still got it.
5th or 6th edition.
Never,
that.
Yeah, yeah.
never did anything with it. I've still got it. And then I bought.
That came with like the crashed lander type.
That was Battle for
No,
Ukraine.
That's
Right.
Battle
Yeah,
from
right.
Ukraine. That was what, 3rd, 4th?
I believe that was 5th edition, and then Assault on Black Reach was 6th, then transitioned over to Dark Vengeance for 7th, and now Dark Imperium for 8th.
Cool.
Well, then I bought the Stormclaw box set with the Space
Of
Wolves and
course,
Orcs.
yeah.
And the only model in that I've still got it fully boxed. The only model that I took out and painted was, is it Ragnar?
There was a Ragnar Black Mage.
That was what I painted. And the reason I painted that was Mr. Tommy Sewell, friend of the channel, on his Instagram did a step-by-step guide, and I tried to copy it best I can. And
How good was yours compared to Thomas?
I was it was nothing like Tommy's, but I was very, very, very pleased with how it turned out. It looked
I've
awesome.
been able to see that model in person, the one he painted.
Yeah, so
yeah.
it's shit
It was
hot.
good.
Well,
He's good
this
at what he
video's
does.
demonetised now, isn't it? Thanks, Steve.
That's not a swear word, surely. But yeah, good question, Green Tree. What about you, my friend? What was your first, if any? Everyone's saying Knights of Rob again. Jonathan Hart has been asked by Nick, does he play Warcry? He says, I do. Was there for the launch, played a fair bit with Jay. Malkavian, answer to Green Tree's comment, he says, the Beaky Marines in 1st edition. Yes, I'm not the only old
That
person.
was a while ago. Yeah.
I must admit, was it? I can't. It was the older kind of Marines. That you get like one beak head with like the old Marines. I quite like that beaky head.
Yeah, so that's inspired from the 1st edition Marines, which all had that helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of it, but I am more now since the new emo Space Marines came out.
Oh, the Raven Guard.
Yeah,
And I don't know why I tried not to like it, but I think it's because I've seen so many new paint jobs on
It's
Facebook.
very iconic of the Raven Guard.
Do you know,
Yeah.
like the talking about kind of like hideous older models, the old Shrike model. When I saw that, no, when I first saw it, I thought that is an amazing model. I loved it, and this is when I used to play SVG, and I saw that model. I was like, I want to buy one of them because I think it looks like so cool. But I didn't have any Games Workshop stores nearby, so I never got round to picking one up. And then I looked at it recently. I was like, my God, that's dated so much.
Yeah,
like it looks.
It
so
wasn't
old.
very intimidating, was it? Not like the new one.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember thinking that model was amazing when I saw it back in the day.
The new model's cool. I'm on
It is,
the side of I'm not keen on the hair.
See, as an ex-emo kid, I quite like the hair.
I don't particularly mind it. I've seen some nice conversions out there to kind of fix that problem. But yeah, I mean, it's a well-rounded miniature. It's got the imposing look that you expect.
The rest of the
Raven Guard to
miniature's
have.
fine. Yeah, I like
The
it.
definition and the height of it is definitely what gives it the edge.
Yeah, well, like the way he's posed, kind of.
Yeah,
on the terrain piece.
it's very. It persuades you that he's definitely there in some kind of context of an overlook, as opposed to on the ground as the old one used to be.
Jonathan Hart says also beat John Cypher Lords.
Yeah, we've had a game.
Green Tree, not including Space Crusade. I think my first was Space Wolf Bloodclaws, way back. Good man. Ruth says Skullmunch first was a Howling Banshee when he was little.
Yeah.
How little was
While
he?
ago.
Yeah, how little was he? Was he little?
25 mil, so probably.
We meant how little was Sean.
That's same age as John now.
Jonathan Hart is asking, is that Nick, admin?
Yeah.
And Nick is saying yes. Nick Gardner, with the rumours of the next box set being Black Templars versus Chaos, that'd be cool. potentially Emperor's Children. What do you think are the chances we get full Grim before the next Loyalist Primarch?
Oh god. So
This is hearsay.
no spoilers from the new campaign book, Phoenix Rising, but there is definitely a lot of emphasis on the Emperor's Children. There's definitely a lot of emphasis on the Eldar struggle against Slanesh, and obviously Fulgrim being the champion of the Emperor's Children, chosen off Slanesh. There is a massive insinuation that we're definitely going to see more of them in the future.
Cool.
I'm definitely up for it. They're one of the darker, they're one of the more like interesting factions that the Chaos Pantheon have, and I think there's a really good chance that Fulgrim isn't quite done yet. Yeah, definitely.
Exciting times for 40k at the minute. Glyn says
Ragnar Blackmane was my first model.
There's a lot of Ragnar Blackmane first models, aren't there?
Yeah.
because he's a dude. Jonathan
I
Hart?
think my first model was a Mark IV Marine or something like that. Was that a beaky dude?
No, so a Mark IV Marine is more of kind of not quite a beak, but still has a bit of a snout.
Are they the
it's a
one-
heresy
oh.
armor.
Was it the
Yeah,
one
I
that
was
had
gonna say
like
they're
an
the
arch
heresy ones,
thing?
It's
aren't
the
they?
it's the heresy mark.
Yeah, I know that. I know the ones. Yeah, they're quite cool. They've almost got. I know this is going to sound weird now, but they almost like have like an 80s-ish sci-fi look to them rather than.
Definitely do compared to the newer sculpts.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Like that. And the Primaris Marines take a lot of
they're
inspiration
proper cool
from them
lab.
as well.
Proper cool lab.
Yeah, they're cool models. They're really cool models.
Where are we? Green Tree?
So had him too, Glenn, and wasn't there one called Njal Stormcaller or something?
Najal.
Najal Stormcaller, the
I've painted
Terminator.
him. I've painted him. Yeah, he's cool. He's fan cast. That's the only problem.
Nick says my first 40k mod was the RT era plastic Space Marines. What's RT?
Road Trader.
Road Trader. Oh, that's properly back in the day, that isn't it? That's like
Really?
The second one was the Space Orc.
Yeah.
Ruth says, Nick, I'm just painting your leader's scalp.
who's your
Gruesome, bit gruesome.
Simon Kendrick, my first was the old Road Trader era multi-melter one back in the day.
Another old school one.
Yeah.
That's
Fly
a cool
Mammal,
model as
well, a bit of the skin anyway. Glenn Seymour, yes, absolutely right. Green Tree, yeah, that was not about Njal nor Najal.
Najal, yeah.
Stormcaller.
flipping
Wow,
heck. Jumps,
There's
yeah.
loads of stuff.
We'll have to
rush through this.
Yeah, there we go. How did everyone decide which 40k faction they wanted to play? That's from Ruth. I decided that I wanted to play Space Wolves because they always looked cool to me. I'm a big fan of like sort of Viking-esque thing, and Vikings in the future just look really cool. I was never interested in any other lore, so Space Wolves for me was the one. And I really like Raptors now. Just the colour scheme.
Yeah, they're cool. Like that kind of that greenish camo-ish colour, isn't it? So
I'm very, I'm a typical male. I'm very aesthetically minded, very visual. Don't check my internet history, whatever you do.
How about you? What was your? How did you choose which faction you wanted to play?
I was kind of shoehorned into 40k in that I got into it with Battle from the Crag.
Yeah.
No, it was probably earlier than that. So as far as I can remember back, choosing a faction was Battle for Macragge when I did my first Space Marine army. So my first army was Eldar, way back 11 years ago, and it was kind of a went into Games Workshop, didn't pick up a box. And then later down the line, one of my family members bought me Battle for Macragge, and then when the edition turned over, it went over to Assault on Black Reach, and that's when I started tearing out the Ultramarines. Got into the Ultramarines and stuck blue since then, realistically. Yeah.
They're cool, aren't they?
Yeah, they're nice.
Really cool.
No, I was kind of forced into Death Guard because you wanted the Marines, so I kind of thought.
No
Do
choice.
you know what?
I think you got the better end of the stick.
I think I did. I think I got the better lore, definitely. So that's great. But
Better rules, better law.
I don't know if they're better rules, but
They don't die.
well, no, your guys don't die. I've got 2 wounds. But I think from like I said earlier, like Tau are kind of the faction that have kind of grasped me from a lore perspective, and kind of their ethos towards kind of they're a very kind of positive race, I guess,
Absolutely.
aren't they? And that's kind of what I quite like. They're this little kind of corner of positivity in this very grimdark 40k universe. So that I quite like them.
Cool.
We've got some chatter going on.
Glenn's saying, Ruth, I may paint mine like the colour of your KFC chicken. Don't forget the herbs, says Ruth. Simon Kendrick?
I chose my Gene Stealer Cults because of Kill Team, and they are fun to play with, hardly win though, but fun. And that's what matters, it is that they are.
That's
Maybe
all
you
that
need some
matters.
coaching.
Yeah, exactly.
Get down here.
Glincy or Dark Angels Hellblasters can go to damage 3.
Yes, so Dark Angels have the ability to
Their
take the
specific special rule,
Hellblasters. Yeah,
innit?
they're very, very skilled with plasma.
Yeah, Jonathan Hart says, when you learn all the sneaky tricks, I'm sure the cult will do well. I'm sure they will. I think that's there is an element of that, isn't it? It's kind of knowing what your army does. And one thing that I do find not frustrating about 40k is because the rules are so vast and you can't own every codex and things. It's kind of almost those gotchas from other armies that you may have never come up against before. And actually, you think that you've deployed well and this worked well against other armies, and then all of a sudden the other army goes, "Ha, gotcha! I can deploy behind you, and I can do this. I can take your army apart."
I consider myself to be quite lucky in that I know how to play in a massive array of armies. I keep up to date with the rules in chapter approved. I skim through many codexes and keep up to date with that way. So when I come across something, I'm generally quite quick to switch on and go, right, I know what that does, I know how to counter that. But there's also situations where I've been caught out. It happens, and like I say, I think that's half the fun of the game, realistically, is finding out from your opponent, what they know as opposed to what you knew.
Yeah.
Cool.
Malkavian says, at Rift back in the day, I went with Eldar because I loved the look, Aspect Warriors and Vehicles. When I got back into the game, I went with Dark Angels for the lore and appearance. He says he also collects NIDs. So you collect a lot there.
Yeah.
Simon says, Mr. Hart, they will. That's saying about the tips and tricks of each force. Glenn says, the leader may be the Looney Tunes Yosemite Sam.
Yosemite Sam.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're saying.
With the mustache. Yeah. Simon Kendrick, Glyn, I have a Dark Angel army as well, but gone the Mark 7 Marines and Deathwing route. Jonathan Hart, we've started at 500 points. Got a ton of games in last Sunday. It was a lot of fun and a good learning experience. Yeah. And that's what it's all about.
Start off at low points. That's the easiest way to do it. Simon says, 4 games in 4 hours or so, each against a different opponent. That's another good way to learn.
Yeah.
Not only the rules of your own faction, but picking up the little tips and tricks of factions that you're going to come up against, and things to keep an eye out for and try to avoid falling into certain little traps and things like that.
Absolutely.
Glenn says...
We'll move on to Simon.
Oh, Simon.
Stormclaw, the leader, is Crom.
Crom Dragonglaze.
That's the guy.
Crom Dragonglaze. Legend.
Yeah.
Lee
says, 2nd edition Blood Angel was my first model. That's going back a while as well.
Yeah.
I didn't
That
think he
is
was
a while
old.
ago, yeah.
Nicholas Gardner, my first 40k model was Eldred Ultron, aka the better psych from Araman.
Yeah, no.
Do you know who that is?
Yeah,
I got
so
no clue.
Eldrad is the prophesized kind of almost saviour of the Eldar. He's meant to kind of lead them down the path of least resistance to beating Slanesh. And there's a lot of debate on whether he's the most powerful psyker amongst some of the more psychically potent ones in the universe, but I just can't see it.
You're sitting firmly on that side of the fence.
I'm definitely on my side of the fence.
Callum Wyatt WH.
That's a new name.
New name. Let us know where you're from, my friend,
Callum.
and what you play.
Shall
You
we-
already have. Good man.
I'll read it out, shall I?
Go on, yeah.
Should I buy an army based on how they look? I really love Chaos Space Marines, and if I were to collect 40k, if I were to collect 40k, I collect Middle Earth at the moment. These guys would be the ones I'd collect.
So yeah,
I'd say yes.
absolutely. Steve hit the nail on the head when he said, aesthetics are a massive part of what we do. We opt to build and paint, convert these figurines in order to push them around the battlefield. And remember, you're only really going to be playing 40k for 3 to 4 hours at a time per game. 2, 3, 4 hours. Whereas you're going to look at your miniatures a lot more. So
And you
definitely go with something
painting for a long time
a
as well.
long
If
time,
you,
so
if
you
you're building
don't want to
a
lose
big
interest. Absolutely.
Um,
So if you like Chaos Marines, you've also got the ability to go for so many different legions. The range is huge.
Yeah. I've gone for Iron Warriors with mine.
Oh, great!
And
legion.
I love
Fantastic
painting the hazard stripes on them and stuff.
Yeah.
I think they look
First
great.
person I've ever heard say you like painting.
Do you know what? Because it's the first one. Because I did it. I started painting the Aspiring Champion for the Tommy Saul painting competition.
Oh, fantastic!
And because I thought, do you know what, I'll challenge myself, because it's hazard stripes is not something you paint in Middle Earth, is it? And I thought, do you know what, I'll try that. And I really enjoyed painting it. It was just something completely different to what I had painted before. And I found it really rewarding when it actually kind of came out looking okay. I was really kind of really pleased how they look. And a big shout out to Brushstroke James Collard if he's watching. I don't know if he watches.
He tunes in.
He tunes in, so that's good. Because he did a guide for it, and I did pick his brain about kind of painting hazard stripes, and I was like, well, a bit nervous about it. He just said, just go for it, just try it, and I think there's a big.
It's a massive hurdle to get over. Is this very strange fear people have of getting into new techniques?
Yeah.
It's plastic. It strips.
Yeah.
You can get
that is
that
very
paint off.
true.
And it's paint. You can paint over it.
You can paint over it. You can do. I mean, I think Nick just winced a little bit when we said we could paint over it.
But you can. Do you know that? I think a lot of the 40k models are big enough and kind of they have enough detail on them to, if you needed to just sort of coat over them again, it's not the end of the world really.
So it's one of those things that I've encountered quite a lot, is people saying, I don't want to get into this faction because I'm not entirely sure how to paint them. Take the plunge, go for it, and if it does go bad enough that you wouldn't be able to kind of rectify the issue, White Terps, Biostrip 50, Dettol, you can find so many different
not
ways.
Dettol. I hate Dettol.
And to be fair, there's that many painting guides out there. I mean,
there's so
the
much
Warhammer,
methylated spirits as well.
yeah,
That's a
the
good one.
Warhammer Games Workshop painting guys, their YouTube channel has almost every possible technique or faction or colour scheme.
And even if it's
think
not exactly for your faction, you can find something like that is
Suitable.
suitable enough that it will kind of match what you're trying to achieve with your army.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So I hope that helps you, Callum. Lee says, hi, Jonathan. Nicholas Gardner, my army choice was easy. I only play elves, so Eldar it was.
Do you find people do that?
There's a lot of streamline from fantasy like not even just war games, like RPG and stuff like that. It kind of indicatively shows that
certain race or faction that they.
Yeah, there's a lot of representation in 40k. So yeah, if you like elves in a different system, even SPG, you can probably streamline yourself into Eldar. Yeah,
Cool. Glyn says.
Had a Space Wolves army. If I look into 48, it's going to be either back into Wolves, Sisters, or Custodes. Custodes are cool. More cost-based one now, sadly.
Yeah.
Like Custodes, they're expensive, but you don't need that many.
No, so I've seen players really praise them for the ability to put their entire army in the backpack.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
They look cool as well. Jog PLC, I ended up with Marines by splitting a Dark Imperium box with a friend. That got me back into the hobby. I've always loved Necrons though. They were added when I used to play as a teen.
Just like Terminators, aren't they?
Yeah.
They
look
remind me of
cool,
Terminators.
like,
I mean, obviously that's the aesthetic they've gone for, which is cool because Terminators are cool.
Cosmic Salmon.
New name?
Yeah.
I've not heard about you before. Cosmic Salmon, in the chat, let us know where you're from, my friend, and what games you play alongside 40k, if any.
He said, slicing with 3 Flesh Eater Courts, Terrorgeist with a Gristle Lord household from AOS. So I'm guessing that those are going to be models that are kind of compatible with in both 40k and
No.
All right, fair enough.
Not even in the slightest. However, you could probably do some really nice stuff with Chaos Knights with that kit.
Cool.
He's also got a question
for 40k. I've been in the hobby for about a year and I've solidly collected orcs. I'm thinking of going completely different for 2030. What do you guys recommend?
Space Wolves. Simple.
Okay.
Space Wolves.
What would you recommend?
Completely different. Why not Knights? Kind of sometimes slated in the competitive scene. However, I think if you've been doing orcs solidly, then you've probably done quite a lot of painting and you've probably honed your craft a little bit. You're probably also you're looking for something not quite as hoardy. Knights is a really, really great option for you to go down. Space Marines, they're not as many models as well. You can make them super elite. If you want to go really Chaos Knights, obviously. Like I would recommend Chaos Knights.
They look cool as well.
Yeah, I'd probably go down the route of something less model intensive and way more intensive on the painting. Something like that.
Cool. Callum says, first live stream. Yes, but I'm active in your Facebook group.
Good stuff.
Good man. I'm located in West Somerset, so not very close to you guys, sadly. Yes, but we can converse here, my friend. And also, we do run events for different systems every now and again. We actually have a 40k event coming up, which we'll talk about towards the end of the stream.
Yes.
We'll do that.
Where are we? Cosmic Salmon is.
You're well rehearsed at doing that, aren't you?
I'm very, very well rehearsed in memes. Like I'm pretty on the ball. I like this next one.
Ruth says, just pick up a brush.
Yeah.
What was that? I watch a lot of Tommy's little videos and stuff that he does.
I know.
You know,
Tommy's
and
videos,
Tom is very cool. He's a very zen guy.
He's very
And what was it he said to people who are saying they can't get motivation or something? He said, just paint a line.
Yeah, just do it.
Paint a line and see where it goes.
Yeah.
And I guarantee that by the time you've got your water ready, you've got your paints out, when you paint a line, you're going to think, well,
I've got everything,
out now.
Do you know,
So I may as well crack
it's
on.
something that I've kind of, I think I might have said it on the last live stream, but it's something that I kind of started doing is I said I'm going to paint for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes. Everyone's got. I scroll through my phone for God knows how long each day. You know, it's something that you don't kind of keep count of. I have got 2 minutes to paint, and especially if you've got stuff kind of out ready, like you know your water, you know you've got a wet palette and things like that. Picking up a brush for 2 minutes, and do you know what? It's never going to be 2 minutes. It's going to be quarter of an hour, 20 minutes, 2 hours. You know, it's always going to be more than that 2 minutes. And actually, it's 2 minutes. Even if I only get 2 minutes, it's 2 minutes more than I had done previously.
Absolutely.
So
I do it in things like I'll say to myself, right, I'm going to get the base colours on his flesh.
yes, yeah, exactly. That's
And then
exactly
I think, well,
what
I've done that. I may as well whack a wash on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I whack a wash and I think, right, I'll just sort of reset the base colour, leaving the retesters. I may as well put the first highlight on. Oh, well,
And then all of a sudden you're
next
like,
highlight's tiny, so I may as
you're
well
like
do that.
half an hour in.
Yeah.
And
Before you know it,
I think
paint
for a
them.
lot of people, it is that picking up of the brush, and that starting that is the toughest part.
It is the toughest part of just sitting down with your brushes and saying honestly to yourself, I'm going to do some painting now.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've really got my painting bug back again. I'm loving painting at the minute.
Yeah, so like.
Jonathan Hart says...
I like red. So Blood Angels was an easy decision.
Yeah.
Having 8 extra intercessors from making my kill team list made the decision for me.
So yeah, John's really mastered his Blood Angels over the last couple of weeks. He's done quite well with them. He's gone down the path of doing things like Death Company and Sanguinary Guard, etc. So he's really gone into the range. However, I definitely recommend to you getting another 10 intercessors. Just replace, not even a matter of replacement for your Ultramarines, just intercessors. The lifesavers.
Do it, man.
They're the Swiss Army
Do it.
knives.
Listen to the guru. Do it. Cosmic Salmon.
I chose Orcs because the lore is amazing. I absolutely love the Lucky Blue roll.
What's the lucky blue roll? Do they have a special roll? I'm not clued up on Orc rules.
No, maybe you know more about it than me.
Let
in
us
that
know what
case.
that
Yeah,
means,
that could mean a
Cosmic.
lot of different things.
Yeah, let us know what that means. Or
Lucky Blue? Nothing.
Yeah.
Don't know.
We got nothing over
Simon
here.
Kendrick, tip for when you talk about Death Guard: 20 Plague Marines armed with 2 close combat weapons, cast Blaze of Putridification, and then veterans of the Long War causing mortal wounds on a 5+.
I'll talk you through that when we get to that.
Cool,
Grim.
excellent. I'll tell you what, that's a good little segue.
It's a good segue, that, isn't it?
Should we talk about the first 1,000 points of Death Guard?
So the first 1,000 points is first 1,000 points. So with Death Guard, again, it's one of those armies that you could be looking at going incredibly Horde, or you could be looking at going incredibly Elite. From Conquest, it's definitely pushing you down the path of going quite mid-range, to be honest with you.
It is, yeah. Especially in the now. I think we're starting to get some more Plague Bearers and stuff.
Yeah.
Not Plague Bearers. Plague Bearers?
Poxwalkers.
Poxwalkers even. Poxwalkers. So actually that's encouraging that kind of Poxwalker Horde kind of mentality, but kind of especially in the earlier editions, you're not getting that many Poxwalkers. So yeah, it is kind of going down that kind of middle road.
Absolutely.
So where would you start with your first 1,000 points then?
So, to start with my first 1,000 points, looking at the stuff that we've got from Conquest, it's definitely Plague Marines. Now, Plague Marines are one of the more interesting units that Chaos actually have. They're tough. They've got a vast array of weapons, to be honest with you. Most of them are armed with bolters, plasma guns, and a lot of them have like very good combat weapons as well, weirdly enough. So there's plague swords and stuff.
Yeah, or you're re-rolling ones, I think.
Re-rolling ones and stuff like that. They're a really good all-round unit, incredibly survivable. They have
disgustingly resilient.
The Death Guard rule, which
So
allows
nice.
you to ignore. It's a 5-up feel no pain basically. So any kind of it's that extra line of defense against getting takeable. It's an absolutely fantastic rule. So Plague Marines, I would definitely consider having 2 units of them at full strength of 10.
Yeah.
Just because they're removable. You can't get them off the board.
Definitely.
I mean, they're only 1 wound each, and Intercessors being 2 wounds, but it balances out in that you've got the 5-up feel no pain.
Yeah.
It's just that extra.
And then I think the save roll is 3+. 4+?
Save roll is 3+.
Yeah.
Standard power armor save. It's got to be said that they're incredible models as well. Super
they are
good
cool.
detail, really
They're
nice.
really cool. And that's again one I said it earlier, but when you look at them to begin with, you're like, oh my god, there's so much detail in here. But actually, they're quite simple to paint.
Once
and
you've painted one, you've painted them all.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then you just your muscle memory will take over, and you're just going for it from that point. So yeah, two full strength units there. Looking at your HQs, you've got loads of them. There is no denying that you've got the Lord of Contagion, your Tallyman. I can't remember what this unit's called, but there is a HQ unit with a flamer that can dish out 3 damage per wound.
Who's that? I can't remember who that is.
Player I have on a Thursday night rocks 3 of those and a Rhino. It's nuts, absolutely nuts. And then there's just a whole slew of different things that are force multipliers, so they're giving your units individual buffs. So like Ben said, Poxwalkers, they can become very, very effective, even though they're slow, shambling, not very tough, not very strong. With the right HQs around them, you're going to be buffing
things like Typhus,
full capacity.
he
Typhus can put them up to what, strength 5?
He
Unreal.
bumps them up to strength 5, and he bumps up their toughness, I think, as well.
He makes them very survivable.
So he makes them more survivable, and actually, do you know what? You just kind of run them up the table towards your opponent.
I've never seen a Death Guard player using any less than 40 of them.
Yeah.
Put it like that. They're very, very good in massive
that type of force.
But there's also different ways you can go with Death Guard. So far, I'd say definitely you want 2 units of 10 Plague Marines.
Yep.
You want a Lord of Contagion. He's your basic captain choice, but he's way more value for points than a Space Marine captain.
He's very, very tough. And he dishes out.
When he gets into close combat, he really dishes
grim.
out. There was,
He is grim.
in one of the games that we had, I think he took out your captain in like
Yeah,
two
I didn't know what he
turns.
did.
Yeah.
I didn't know what he did. I was like,
You're like, yeah, it'd be fine.
Let's have a really
Captain and Gravis
dramatic,
Farm
like,
can do this.
hero
And
off,
it's like-
and then you went.
Yeah.
He's dead. I was like, what?
He's incredibly survivable. He's in Terminator armor, so
Yeah.
the 2 up save, 5 up disgustingly resilient, 5 up invulnerable save.
Yeah.
It's madness. So he's not only is he incredibly survivable, he's also got the ability to just dish out so much damage, and he force multiplies your stuff. So him near those Plague Marines, I'm probably going to shoehorn about 30 to 40 Poxwalkers in there, just because it's really, really interesting to see the way that small gribbly units can get pushed up into the more top tier combat armies.
Yeah.
Plague Burst Crawlers, tanks, water tanks,
I've got one
absolutely
of them.
fantastic. They're really good on the defensive as well. A lot of people say, well, they crumble to things getting in combat. They're armed with 2 Plague Spitters.
Yeah.
They're fine.
But you can play the play them in a couple of different ways. You can, as you say, push them into your army, and you can kind of into your opponent's army and kind of use them kind of up front and centre, or you can kind of leave them at the back because they've got a kind of really long range. I think it's hitting on a 4+, which isn't kind of the most reliable, but they are quite kind of tough. Just leave them in the back and kind of cause problems further up the table for your opponent, really. Especially if you've got those Poxwalkers that are stopping anything from getting through towards your back line. So.
Absolutely. So I reckon in 1,000 points for Death Guard, coming from the perspective of Conquest, you're probably looking at those 2 units of 10. They can go up. I believe they come in units of 7. However, you can bump them to 10. If they can't, correct me. I don't own the codex. I've just
I
seen.
think they start at 5. I think, but you can bump them up.
You can bump them up, yeah. And you've got that. You've got that really, really good ground level of then having the Lord of Contagion, Plague Burst Crawlers, etc. Fetid Bloat Drones are a really, really good way of getting a fast attack unit which has got flamers on them, or they can take a combat variant, something along those lines.
Horrible.
Horrifying.
Is it a flesh mower? I think it's called.
Flesh mower is brutal.
Plague Spear, which is automatically hits within 8 inches.
It does automatically.
So there's a lot of stuff. Kind of there that is kind of quite tasty with them as well.
When building your first 1,000 points, it's always good to keep it open to people. I'm not going to tell you what to put in those 1,000 points. I'm just going to tell you what is really what you should be considering. So Plague Burst Crawlers, Plague Marines, definitely a Lord of Contagion. That is the one. Maybe even 2 if you want to push your luck. Poxwalkers, Fetid Bloat Drones. Yeah, I would say you could probably get yourself to a really, really nice 1,000 points just by including those units, and then explore the Death Guard range.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
So what we'll quickly do now is Nick has posted a link up. I'm going to retype the link now and post it again, so it's in twice, just because we want to ram it home.
Yeah.
Is for our event, Assault at Element. Now, me and Ben have been wanting to run a 40k event for a while, since we got into 40k from the Conquest magazines. It seemed a very natural go-to to approach Jonny. Jonny is going to be the main TO.
Yep. And you've done a very solid rules pack for us.
So I'm going to be organising the event. I've written the rules pack and I've written the mission packs. The mission packs aren't available as of yet, but the rules pack is in the event description. It's
Check
all
the link.
there. It's all there. It's been checked. If you need anything, please get in contact with me. You can get in contact with me through the Element Games Northwest Gaming Centre page.
Yep.
You can look for me personally on Facebook. I'm sure
He is
I'll
one of
find
the
a way to get
admins
that.
on the event page as well, so you can find it through
Yeah.
there.
Or just post to
Jonathan
the event.
Harron.
Yeah. Or just post to the event. I check it every day in the morning. If I don't get back to you immediately, rest assured I will get back to you. But everything is explained in the rules package. I'm pretty confident of that. Within the next 2 weeks, the full mission rules of all 3 that will be available to play on the day and will be being played on the day will be there. So I want to give people the ability to. I don't often do this, but I want to give people the ability to pre-plan their games, just so nobody's wandering into a game with absolutely no idea of what to do. Just make sure you're approaching every single game with the intention of, I think I know what to do here, but then remember that your opponent could do something incredibly similar, incredibly different, and I'll be there as a full-time TO on the day. So
So what we wanted to really make, and it's something that we're kind of really keen on when we do events, is make sure that they're a little bit different, and we wanted to make sure that they are. This one was kind of beginner fun and beginner friendly. So we are sort of encouraging themed armies. So there will be a themed army kind of award on the day, which will be. There'll be nominations from people on the day, but also we will have a vote in that as well.
Yes.
Because we want things to be like cool stuff on the table. We want to see like, really nicely painted and converted armies and stuff like that. So that will be kind of down to our discretion as well, where our votes go. And as I said, we want to encourage new players who've never been before. So we have got a couple of people who have posted on the event page that have never been to an event before, and they're like, "What the hell? I am going to come along to this event."
Which is fantastic.
I'm really looking forward
It's
to
fantastic.
it. I like meeting new players who are fresh into the game and showing them either their first games or their first experience of the competitive scene, or just their first organised play event. Organised play event doesn't instinctively mean competitive. It can be thematic, it can be a campaign. Thursday night is an open play event. It's organised as well. Not all that competitive either. So I don't want people to be coming into this with the tournament mentality. I definitely want the idea of, this is my collection, this is what I like, this is what I want to play, and the rules pack is written in that you will never take a massive slating.
No, we want this event to be, especially to the guys who it is your first event. This event, I want to make you go away from it thinking, I can't wait to go to my next event.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
can't wait to go to my next top table event.
Yes, any event, any event, but especially top.
So how many points?
How many points are we doing, Johnny?
So we're going up to 1,500 points.
So it's not huge.
It's not huge. Standard
It's
competitive
tasty.
tournament level is played at 2,000 points or 1,750.
Yep.
1,500 if you take some of the tips and tricks from what I've told you in
From
this
this
video.
stream,
Pretty much, look at the units that I mentioned. So that's repeating Hellblasters, Intercessors. Go look at Fetid Bloat Drones or Playburst Crawlers if you want to
It's
go for the
easily
Death Guard.
achievable.
It's easily achievable. You don't have to worry too much about getting into the subtle nuances of what different units synergize great with that. Just focus on maybe some of the easier to get into stuff. Or if you want to go really, really down the rabbit hole and look into the different units that are available, go and do that as well.
It's basically entirely up to you.
Absolutely.
Like we say, it's aimed at the more new player, but we are not alienating anyone. Veterans are more than welcome, because we would love to have some guys there who can help sort of ease new players into the game, and just come and get involved. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be based on fun. We're going to have some cool prizes.
Yeah,
we're going to hang out.
We've got some cool ideas for prizes and trophies.
I'm really looking forward to it. Like, really, I'm looking forward to it that much. I wish I could take part in it.
Yeah, I know.
So
that's how I feel.
we've got a nice number thus far, but the
The
more
more the merrier.
It's looking like a really, really positive, good event so far.
Yeah.
Because we were nervous because we've not played a huge amount of 40k, as you can probably tell from the stream. So we were sort of thinking, well, putting on a 40k event, it's a bit of a risk. And actually, do you know what, the reception that it's had so far has been amazing, and I've loved seeing sort of people posting in that event page. People coming for their first event. So actually, it's something that we, the more people that come and kind of enjoy and participate in this event, the better.
Yeah.
And you get to meet Jonny.
And you get to
Yeah.
meet me. I'll be
I mean,
there all
I
day
would
showing
buy a
you what I'm
ticket
actually good at.
Just for that. I'm telling you.
So I may not be I may not be the most fantastic like personality on the internet, but off the internet I'm definitely way more confident in what I do.
Yes,
he's up there.
He's
up
a
there.
legend, this lad. Right, so make sure you click that link. Even if you're on the fence and you think, I don't know if it's for me, click the link, have a look, say hi, and we'll talk you into it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Lee Dalberkin says, Space Wolves for me, just love the lore. I'm exactly the same, my friend. Nick, he's telling Ruth to paint her ends. We tell her every week, Nick.
She's not listening.
In one ear, out the other.
Yeah.
Get him paid.
Cosmic Salmon, Milton Keynes, good shop here. And Knights do look good. Me and my active brain have already created paint schemes, purple and gold.
Nice.
Magma scheme. White and silver, possibly Water Titans. Very cool.
Water Titans is a good idea.
Yeah, he says, and a good conversation for Flesh Eater Courts is mixing some armour from Knights and a few weapons into Crypt Horrors or Flayers to create some demons.
That's exactly what I was thinking. For demon engines, that is a really great idea.
Love it.
Jonathan?
We will see where we are when we have our 2K
So
game.
me and another Jonathan
Two Jonathans.
are planning to have our first 2K game on a Saturday evening coming up at some point. So
Nice.
It's gonna be an interesting one.
Glenn Seymour painted my Chimera for Boarcry. I named him, her, Eenie, Meanie, Miney, and Mo. When I saw Chimera, then I thought it was like for one of the tanks, like for 40k. Cosmic Salmon, I meant rule. You can reroll anything from your hit and wound rolls. You also have a 6+ invulnerable save. Oh, and you can convert any model into orc models.
Very true.
I mean, that's quite stacked.
That was the
isn't
blue
it?
dice
Yeah,
thing that we were
that's
talking
quite
about.
stacked. I mean, that leaves it very open for interpretation on what you can do with the army. The invulnerable save, though, that is such a massive.
Glenn Seymour's for Death Guard. Get the supporting elite choice characters, Benji. I've got them all. I've pretty much got every Death Guard character.
So
now,
that's what I was
think.
saying, like the massive array of Death Guard characters you get. You might not want all of them in every build, but you definitely want some of them just because the force multipliers are so massive in that army.
Absolutely. Cosmic Salmon, also because I have no social media at all. You guys have a Discord by any chance? No, we don't.
You should definitely set one up.
We've spoke about it. The problem, it's not a problem. all it is,
It's trying to juggle all the social media.
I mean, filming, keeping up with the social media. We've got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
We've got families.
Families, jobs, lives.
So the
it's
thing
tough. Maybe we need someone to control our Discord.
So
Or this guy.
So the thing you've got with Discord is that you don't want to drop off of the social medias, but it gives your community a place where they can hang out anytime they want. They can drop into any of the channels, any of the chats, and they can either talk via voice or they can talk via text, and just basically be in the same place.
Nick's holding up a piece of paper with tons writing there. I don't know which bit he wants me to see.
Let's read this one. I have set one up
Once.
So Nick's going to do it.
So Nick's gonna do that. So
I'll definitely jump on
watch
board
this
with
space.
that.
We'll do something with that. I'm sure.
Glyn's, you said that. Fly Mammal says, nice, Glyn. Jonathan Hart, I found Death Guard are really tough to play. Hellblasters helped a lot until I charged them in like a top noob.
John's pointing out exactly what I said in regards to Hellblasters. You want to be firing at infantry.
Yeah.
And he said, obviously it's quite tough to deal with Death Guard as well. So yeah, Hellblasters are a good run in.
We need to fly through some of these comments.
I think we're going to have to skip some of this.
Right, here we are. Okay. Glenn Seymour says, I'll post pics with lighting tomorrow on him. Remind me in the group tomorrow. Ruth. Fly Mama says, will do. Cosmic Salmon. Ooh, conversation idea. Gene Stealer Cult Knights.
I have no idea how that would work.
Not rules legal even in the slightest.
But go for it.
Well, go and do it.
I want to see that.
We'll see that.
Post it up on Discord.
Cosmic Salmon, you be you, man.
Yeah.
I love how I've been playing AOS for a while, so all of these rules that ain't for orcs are just confusing me. Jonathan Hart says, can a knight pop out of a drain pipe?
A very large drain pipe.
Absolutely.
Why not?
And he
Why
says,
not?
I mean, if it's big enough.
Get one, that drill that kind of points down. You could just have that as its head, so it just like pops up out of the ground or something.
Oh yeah, that'd be
cool.
quite interesting. Definitely.
Yes.
That's
There
on
you
board
go.
with that. Yeah.
TM.
Green Tree?
Got to get some sleep now, peeps. It was great chatting with you all. Love this community and seeing how it's growing. Night, dude.
Good night, my friend.
Yeah, Green Tree has to get up early, doesn't he?
Yeah. Everyone's saying night to Green Tree. Let's go down.
People saying good night to Green Tree.
Night, Green Tree. Weekender crew. I know you coming to the November event. Yeah, do you know what? That'd be good to get some of the guys back on the weekend.
Yeah. We'll have another little night out again.
Alistair Knockman. I'm torn between using an army of giant Tyranid monsters or a sneaky list of Steelers and Lictors, etc. for that event.
So I want to see your Gene Steelers plus Broodlord list. When me and Alistair had a game, he definitely plays that list like probably the most interestingly.
Yeah.
The force multiplier buffs that Gene Steelers get, I'm definitely interested in seeing massive horde Gene Steelers plus Broodlord support. Just go for it. Absolutely love that list.
Jonathan Hart?
Yeah, I will try to make it. Excellent.
Yep.
Good stuff. Cosmic Salmon, not heard of these events since it's my first stream, so I've no idea. Don't even know if my orcs are 1,000 points. Well, you've heard of them now, so go and check them out.
You've got enough time.
You've got plenty of time.
plenty
So
of
this
time.
is on the 30th of November, so you've got time to get your ticket booked and get down. Click the link, go and check it out. But we've also done previous events, so the Weekender, where there was a small 40k event as part of that as well. And yeah, count up your orcs and see whether you need 1,500 points, not 1,000. I'm sure you've got plenty, so have a look.
Callum Wyatt says, unrelated to 40k, but do you know if the re-release of Elrond will be mounted? You can guess this on Friday. But nobody knows, my friend. Nobody knows. I'm sure we'll get some pictures on the Facebook group.
Based on the price,
within the next
I
couple of
would
days.
say yes, but that's a tentative yes.
Yeah.
I like that one.
We'll see.
That's an interesting
Lead Alex says, looking forward to it. Don't know what to bring.
Bring
Space
cool
Wolves,
stuff.
man.
Space
Space
Wolves.
Wolves.
There's a couple of Space Wolves because Ben Pearson's bringing
Ben
Space
Pearson's
Wolves.
that'd be cool.
There's going to be a few Space Wolves.
I love seeing Space Wolf armies.
Yeah.
Cool. Jonathan Hart, don't put yourself down, John. You're a top lad. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm alright.
Ruth says, but you have Nick. Nick? What was that?
What is it?
There's chatter going on between
Yeah,
people. It's
yeah,
difficult
yeah.
to keep up with
There's
it.
PMs for that, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Where are we? Will you guys be hosting an AOS tournament by any chance?
So this is interesting because on Sunday I'm being shoehorned into hosting, well, I say hosting TO in my first AOS event, or one of my first proper AOS events. Something I will be looking at taking up, so if these guys need anything in the AOS area at some point, I'm probably up for that.
Well, AOS is something that
alright.
Jay is
Jay loves it,
very
absolutely
keen
loves
on,
it.
very keen on, and I know he's keen on doing something. He's just trying to find his
mojo, his
he's
groove.
trying to find his the gap that he wants to get into, and basically, I can really see there's going to be AOS content coming soon, but he doesn't want to just do any old content. That's what
It's got to be right.
Yeah, he wants to do the right content for the channel and the content that you guys are going to want.
So Simon's a good one there. Do the armies have to be painted for the event?
So,
Can I muscle in?
Yeah,
can I
go
muscle
on.
in as the actual TO at the event?
Can I muscle in as the person who wrote the
Of course.
the person who wrote the kind of the blurb for it? No, it doesn't have to be painted. So if it's not painted and you just want to get it on the table and learn the rules, because actually that's part of the experience, I guess. Then no, it doesn't have to be painted, but to be eligible for the best painted or the best kind of army, it has to be painted.
So to play, it doesn't have to be painted. If you want it to go into be judged for best painted, obviously, or best army or best theme, then we will only be judging painted armies. But to come and play, then
in the same kind of realm as that question, if anything's going to be non-WYSIWYG, which is basically not as modelled, if anything's going to be slightly different on the battlefield,
WYSIWYG. If you don't know, what you see is what you get.
Please let me know in advance.
I remember when I was that guy who never knew what that meant.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. John, I think we should do a video on that. Acronyms that people from like TO.
There's still acronyms I don't know.
Tournament organiser, WYSIWYG,
Yeah.
what you see is what you get.
Yeah. There's loads of them.
This
out
is
there.
your TO. Everyone's thinking,
What's a TO?
I'm not for you, T.
Just finished assembling my first 25 power of Craft Worlds, says Zachary Evans.
Good stuff.
And Nick has posted up, as if by magic, the link
Oh, we have a Discord
to
now.
Top Table Gaming
Oh,
Discord. Whoop,
It's
whoop.
already done it.
Getting on that.
Excellent.
They don't mess about this, bud.
Zachary Evans has been playing 1 unit of Wraithguard, 1 Farseer and 2 Warwalkers.
I like
They look
that.
cool models.
I like
Yeah. And Cosmic Segment has joined the Discord. I think he's going to be one of our first first members. Excellent. Nick's already chatting to him. Oh, we've got 4 people in Discord.
Boom, boom. Ruth says, I meant you have a Nick to do stuff like this. Right,
yes,
okay,
we
yeah.
They
But
have
you
a
said it
cave
anyway.
troll.
Yeah, he's our cave troll.
Cosmic Salmon says AOS is fun. You guys heard of the Tite? New skeleton models that look like a samurai army. I've seen those are the what they call the
I'm not
is that
entirely
for-
sure
Oz-
what Asiatic Bone Reapers,
Yes,
something
that's
like that.
the
So
one,
yeah, they look interesting. I'm not too keyed up on what they're meant to represent. They kind of give off the old Tomb Kings vibe.
to me,
I've not read anything.
Somebody
in terms
else
of them, though.
posted it in our group. They said that they look like old like 80s
Skeletor.
It's
Skeletor,
He-Man.
Mumra,
He-Man.
I'll get you next time, He-Man.
type kind of dude.
I
So
like it. Yeah.
yeah, and we've got to the end of the chat.
Well, yes,
There we go.
we've been going for 2 hours. I'm exhausted.
So I haven't had my tea yet.
But do you know what? I have had a blast.
So
It was our first 40k theme live stream, and I've enjoyed it. And 110%, we will be doing another. So
Good stuff.
thank you guys for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I really, really hope to see you on the next live stream. If Nick's ready, I've been Top Table Steve,
I've been Top Table Ben.
I'm John.
and we hope to see you at the tournament in November. If not, we will see you again very, very soon on another 40k stream. And don't forget, we are also doing a Middle Earth stream hopefully on Friday. Keep your eye on the Facebook page for an announcement about that. But yes, thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye bye.